Hello there, and welcome to The Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, it's going all right. I was panicking a bit for some reason. The YouTube stream wasn't starting up, but I reloaded the window and it's going. So
Well,
I think we're good. I think we're
I
good.
think we're good, and I see Marla Sharendorf here, and I'm always happy to see her. I feel like
Yeah.
Marla disagrees with every single thing that I say, but yet she's still here. she probably she probably doesn't think very much of me, but she still sits here and listens. And you know what? I respect that. I respect
As
you,
do
Marla.
I. You know what? I think life is all about different perspectives. It saddens me to no end that we have gone down this road over the past 20 years where people can't have different perspectives on things and be respectful about it, right? It seems to be more prevalent on the left about kind of just like shutting people down, shutting people out, turning people off if they don't agree with you. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen on the right because it absolutely does. It happens in the center. There's some people who just they don't want to listen to either side or they don't want to listen to other opinions. It happens, but I think that's really sad and frustrating because I think what allowed the United States to get where it is, to become the country that it is, to become a more perfect union, as it says in the Constitution, is us being able to compromise on things and to discuss things and work out our problems. And it's just kind of all fallen apart, in the last 20 years. I mean, not completely, obviously. We're all still here. The federal government is still functioning. Oh no, wait, it's not. It's going to shut down in 6 minutes.
Right. There's
But
going to be a
you know
shutdown. The
what I mean.
Schumer
You know what I mean.
shutdown.
Yes, the Schumer shutdown.
What was I going to say to you? That I really wanted to be a centrist. You know what I'm saying? Like I really felt good about that. It's yeah, it's like that meme that somebody is standing in the middle and they keep pushing him, like the line keeps moving somehow. You know that
Yes,
meme?
yeah, yeah. The me that's I actually talked to someone the other day. They were like, that's me. Like that graphic, like that's me. Like I felt like I used to be so far left socially on all of these different things, and now they have pushed what left is so far away from me that now I'm like center right. I guess I don't know.
Right. I mean, I don't really, I don't even know what to define myself because I've told you before, I've never registered with any party, and I don't really look at parties and love them. I don't love like, oh, I want to be with this politician. Like, I never think that way. It's all. I grew up kind of like playing music as a musician. I didn't really love politicians, and I don't know. I mean, it's sort of a necessary evil. You need that, somebody needs to manage things, and usually the people that go to manage countries, that's a very kind of I don't know how to explain it. There's a certain type of person that would go into politics and into that kind of leadership. And on one hand, you need people like that, and on the other hand, it's not necessarily me or what I love.
Yeah, there's a lot of different maxims that have been told about power over the years and people who seek power, right? Like anyone who would seek a position in the government should by no means be allowed to actually hold it, right? There's there's been lots of discussions and maxims and different ideas about that, but it did used to be, at one time we did have like politicians, people that went to serve in their state governments, people that went to serve in the federal government, in legislature. We did have people who were not full-time politicians, right? They were farmers and lawyers and doctors and judges and all sorts of different stuff. And they spent their time, they dedicated some years of their life to going to Congress. And then they went back to being whatever else they were, right? They went back to being
Right.
teachers, they went back to being lawyers, they went back to whatever. And in the last, 40 years, it's really moved towards now they're all, I said 40, I'm almost probably 60 years. It's moved to where just about everyone is now a career politician, which I personally, I think that that particular term, career politician, I'm not sure anything makes the bile rise up in my throat quite as much as that. The idea that somebody is going to spend their entire life working in Congress, working in a position like that, because most of them are also becoming massively rich doing so, which is deeply disturbing, right? You know, you go and you take a public service job. When you go into that job as a senator, you were worth, you had a net worth of $1.5 million or something, and then after 3 terms, you come out and you're worth $25 million. Like, how does
Yeah,
that happen other than just corruption, right? Because they don't make that much in that job. They don't actually make that much money working that job, so there's only one other way you get that rich. So,
interesting.
it's really disturbing. It was a
Istofobo said, "I was a staunch liberal and I never moved. One day I woke up MAGA." I
Yeah.
understand what you mean. It's such a strange, shift that people went through. Jason Webster says, "Shohei Ohtani has hit 2 home runs." That's the Dodgers. Runs as has Teoscar Hernandez as the Los Angeles Dodgers lead 10-5 over the Cincinnati Reds in the 8th inning. The Cincinnati. So, what's his face? Blake Snell was the starting pitcher, I think. I wonder how he did. And Shohei Ohtani, I think he's like a pitcher that's also, he also hit, like, he's also a hitter, but also a pitcher, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why do I know all of this, Professor? I don't even care about.
I have no idea 'cause,
And,
yeah, other
by
than
the way,
a couple of these names, which are a little familiar to me, I really don't know much of anything else. I don't really follow professional sports at all.
I don't follow
So,
it either, but I will
yeah.
say this, that, the Cincinnati Reds, the last time that Blake Snell played against them in August 2024, he was then injured, I think, for 4 months. It was a no-hitter game, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
In any case,
The only reason I know Blake Snell is because there's a podcast that I listen to, a tech podcast where there's a podcaster and journalist. He's been in the biz for years, named Jason Snell, and he play the pitcher Snell. He was on Jason Snell's favorite team for a while, and so he was always talking about him. And then he moved on to a different team, was traded to a different team or something. But yeah. It's baseball and you're American, at least you say, okay, yeah. You know what? It is the American pastime. It's also the pastime of incredibly wealthy players who like to sit around and whine that they don't get paid enough.
that
But
is true.
that's of course not just baseball. That's also basketball. That's also, other professional sports, which is why I don't like professional sports. I don't like to listen to these guys who go out and play a game and then whine and complain and then strike or whatever because, oh, I don't, I'm only making $2.5 million a year. Shut up. Come
I
on.
do have a few issues here that I want to discuss. First of all, Caleb Levine, it's baseball, and you're American, or at least you say you are. I am American. I wasn't. I'm not one of those guys that I'm living. I don't want to say anything bad. I'll say it anyways. I feel like there's a lot of people online that like they put their American flag and they're like, I don't know, they have all these opinions and stuff. And at the
Mhm.
end, it turns out that they're living in like Pakistan and they have some strange agenda. Do you know that type?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh, man.
so
It's people are calling there's on X, like, nonstop. There's all these people commenting on these posts and saying all these anti-American things and whatever, and then it's like people you go and look and you're like, the dude's, like, Indian or Pakistani or something, and you're like, "Dude, shut up. This is American politics. Get the hell
right,
just go the
right. So
hell
yeah,
away."
I want to make this clear. I am American. I'm based in America, so it's not you know I'm not anything. I guess what I'm saying is that whoever thought that I was living like in Pakistan in some like little shack with like this laptop screaming, "It's not true. I live in the U.S. I really do." Caleb Levine said, "I thought you were a Mon Calamari spy." Fair enough. And then, and Jason Webster dropped that comment off, and I thought he'd be so impressed that I actually knew what he was talking about, but then he ran away. Like, I don't even know, it was so out of context. He just, like, dropped that and disappeared. I wish I could have a comment that at least he could say, "Man, I'm so impressed that you
I
knew
was
this weird shit." Somebody says, "Football is now America's game." Yeah, that's true, I guess. I don't know. I
true.
mean, there like the professor said, there are certainly self-entitled players there. But I will say that I like what's happening with the Steelers. It's nice seeing Aaron Rodgers and, how he's playing with DJ Metcalf. Just throwing that out there.
Oh,
I'm not even a Steelers fan. I kind of like that they dismissed him, but he kind of is surprising people. Just my 2 cents, of course. And Patrick Mahomes was doing pretty well the other day. I think he had like 4 touchdowns in one game. Again, I don't know how I know this. I'm going to shut up now. Jason Webster, I'm from Brisbane, Australia. I'm very happy as the Brisbane Lions won its second AFL premiership by crushing Geelong Cats by 47% points. All right. I'm not very familiar with the Australian League or whatever it is that you're talking about, but that's good to know.
Australian football.
I didn't even know, like, that they're. I don't know much about the Australian League, but Jason Webster, you brought up American baseball, so I responded to that.
We'd have to get regular on a bunch of channels of on RRTNZ. We'll have to get him in here. He knows everything about all the sports ever. I
Caleb
swear.
Levine, who knows it?
RRTNZ. He's in Australia. I don't think he's from Australia, but he lives in Australia right now, I think. And he or maybe he's in New Zealand. But anyway, he like knows everything about everything. Like he comes into chats and he's like talking about Welsh rugby, and then he starts talking about other like American sports, and like it's hilarious. Like he knows like everything about every sport. It's wild.
No, but Caleb Levine here is saying something interesting. What was that guy's Skylar Thompson? Okay, yeah. So basically, what happened is that now the NFL, it goes to different parts of the world to try to
Yeah.
play legitimate like league games there, so that they can like spread the NFL all over the place and collect checks and stuff. So they went overseas to Dublin, and this Skylar guy, he went out just to before the game. He's walking around Dublin, and some people jumped, like they, I guess, recognized him, thinking that he has money, attacked him, mugged him. Really kind of a real attack. They attacked him. He couldn't play. They attacked him and stole all his crap.
Wow.
And I was just wondering, like, doesn't the NFL have like security for some of these people? They can just, if they're already going to take their games on the road like that and go to different countries, I think that they should sort of beef up the security. But that's just my personal.
Yeah, you never know with that stuff.
Oh wait, there's something strange going on. Hold on one second.
Something strange this way comes, and then Price leaves. I'm sure he'll be right back. Let's see. Jason Webster, I'm in Brisbane, Australia. Happy with the Brisbane Lions. Okay, cool.
No, I don't see any of the chats. So if you see them, you can highlight.
Okay.
See anything?
We haven't had any super chats or rants.
I see. Well,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Yeah, there was also, I guess, some hurricane or earthquake. There was an earthquake in the Philippines. I know that because I know a guy called
Yes.
Will of the Fans, and I guess he was there. The thing
Oh,
is that today I was actually out and I couldn't listen to a lot of his stream. I just listened to like about a minute of it, and I clicked on it, and I guess he was in the middle there of like some big hurricane, not an earthquake or whatever it was. He
yeah.
seemed to be okay, so I was happy to see that he was okay, but I think that there was maybe some damage in his area and all that other stuff. So, yeah,
Hmm.
if you happen to be sitting in the Philippines, then I hope you're all doing well, and including Will of the Fans. It's always been nice to me. Uh, the Dead Man. Something strange in your neighborhood.
Who are you gonna
You know,
call?
do you know that I was at a Ray Parker Jr. concert once in recent years,
In
and
recent years, wow.
in recent years,
Nice.
in recent years, and you know what? When he played Ghostbusters, I was pretty darn happy.
I mean, you would have to be. I mean,
Have to be. But the other thing is I wanna tell you, first of all, the guy is, like, not 20, but he gave a really good show, and the other thing is he starts playing all these other songs that, like, you don't realize that he actually was playing on a lot of studio albums for other artists, and he's like, "Oh, I did the guitar riff here, I did there," and he kind of talks to the audience, and he's a really kind of pleasant guy. So he's kind of
mhm,
explaining about his career and playing some songs, and it all kind of was very easy to digest, meaning it was, I expected nothing. It wasn't something. It was more of a, I don't know if to say a festival event. It's not that I specifically, like, got up in the morning and I'm like, "I have to go see Ray Parker Jr.'s show," you know? I just happened, it was a situation where there's a lot of venues, a lot of things happening, just happened to stumble upon it, and man, I was pleasantly surprised, really enjoyed it, and then at the end, he, like, did the whole, like, Ghostbusters thing, and that was a whole lot of fun. Of course, he does, like, a version that's, like, 7 hours long,
yeah,
and nobody cares, like, everybody is on board with the 7 hours. You can play Ghostbusters for 7 hours and everybody's happy.
well, Bustin' makes me feel good.
Price being at a Ray Parker show isn't too surprising. The fact it was in yeah, yeah, I mean, that's kinda funny, but what can I do? I've been to some weird shows in my life. I've been some weird shows, man. Sometimes it's things that I wanted to be at, some things I found myself at, and some things had something to do with organizing or behind the scenes, like some kind of production thing. So I've just been in a lot of strange situations. There's a reason why a publisher, I told you, offered me to write a book, but I didn't really feel like it. Basically, the only people that hear the stories, and even then, like, you're heavily redacted, like little morsels that I throw around here, people hear on this chat. What was your favorite recent show? That's an interesting question. Let me try to think. Oh, okay. Favorite recent show. I saw David Gilmour at Madison Square Garden. I'm always happy to see David Gilmour. Uh, I I'll be honest. I think that David Gilmour. I saw him about maybe 7, 8 years earlier at Madison Square Garden, and in these years when somebody's like in the 70s, 80s, whatever it is, he's heading there, it makes a difference. And I feel like when I saw him when he was maybe 70, I really felt at that moment that I couldn't believe how amazing he was and how, like, impeccable his performance was. When I saw him the most recent time, don't get me wrong, I love the show. I went 2 days in a row. I went and I saw it, and then I quickly went online and bought like a really expensive ticket the next day to see him again because he doesn't come around very often to play here. And I enjoyed both nights very much. But I will say that he's fantastic, but the one with 7, 8 years earlier was, like, more impeccable, if you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Gilmore is so underrated. Yeah, I mean, the thing is Gilmore is fantastic, and, I think that Pink Floyd, everybody always thinks of Roger Waters, and I'll give Roger Waters, even though these days he's a complete loony, nut, egotistical weirdo that's gone off the deep end. If I take a time machine and go back to his, like, early days in Pink Floyd, he was very charismatic and had a lot of creative kind of concepts and ideas. But the truth is without Gilmore, he wouldn't have a band. Uh, First of all, you had Sid Barrett that started the band, but we won't get into that. For most of what Pink Floyd, everybody knows as Pink Floyd, it's David Gilmour. He's the lead singer. He brings the guitar sound that everybody likes. He acts as something of a musical producer in this band, an arranger. Uh, his contribution is just irreplaceable. And Roger Waters is a good idea man. Even recently, and I'll just say this quickly, and I'll move on. I recently discovered that some of the best bass lines that I always thought that Waters did at Pink Floyd, a lot of them are actually Gilmour grabbing the bass and replacing him on the album. I did not know that. You know what I mean? You hear a
Huh.
song like "Hey You" where there's a fretless bass, and I always thought to myself, "Wow, Waters is kind of an asshole, but at least he knows how to play a fretless bass." But then more recently, I found out that I believe it's Gilmore playing it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? The best parts of Roger Waters that I was always sitting and thinking, "Wow, that's great." It's most of the time, if I think it's great, it's Gilmore.
Yeah.
So, Zero says Waters' ego broke up the band. The strange thing about Waters' ego is that if you're a guy that doesn't sing most of the song, you're not like the best musician in the band. You're not even playing your instrument half the time. How are you the one that's like swinging your dick all over the place? Like it was so stupid. He's a nutcase, Waters. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Yeah. As Zero over in the chat said, yeah, his ego was kind of what ended up kind of spelling the end
it did.
for that
I'll
band.
just say this quickly. If people don't know this, the funniest thing about the breakup of Roger Waters and David Gilmour and Pink Floyd is that Gilmore would call Waters periodically and say, "Hey, we got to go into the album, record an album. Like we got to go into the studio and record an album." And Roger Waters would say, "I'm not ready now." So he's like, "Okay." So he'd call him after half a year. "Hey, we got to go to the studio and record an album." I'm not ready now. I don't feel like going. Called him after a few years. He keeps calling him, and then one day he calls him and says, "Hey, we're going to the studio and recording an album. You should be there." And then Roger Waters says, "Well, I'm going to say whenever we're going to record an album when I'm good and ready." And then I guess David Gilmour said, "No, like we're going to record an album no matter what." And then Roger Waters tells Gilmore, "If you think you can go into a studio and record an album without me and then call it Pink Floyd and release it, do it." so, so Gilmore hangs up the phone. Are you with me, Professor?
Yeah.
Gilmore hangs up the phone. He brings the other two guys, goes to the studio. They record an album. they, they release it, I
Yeah.
swear, and they call it Pink Floyd and they release it. So Roger Waters gets really upset and he sues them because they went to record the album. And when he gets to court, the judge says, "You said
Yeah. You told them, well,
right,
go ahead and try and record an album without me. And guess what? They did it.
right, exactly." And he lost. He lost the case.
He did. Yeah.
They still like they give him money for whatever he needs to get paid, but they're just like, that's it. He was out of the band because he's just that's a guy with just a big ego that's not thinking straight. And it's only gotten worse over the years. When somebody gets older, I think that the things that were like his flaws, they only grow like more strong and more apparent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
the more you learn and the little more you learn about that stuff, you start to get even deeper into it. You start to realize like exactly how bad it is, exactly how much their ego played a role in everything that happened, and how at one point you thought, "Man, this doesn't make sense. I don't know why this band would break up, or I never really understood why these people couldn't get along." And then like the more you learn, right? The more you learn about the background of it, and the ways different people treated each other and the words that were said, and so you're like, "Oh yeah, I get it now."
uh, Zero says Rip Richard Wright. Yeah, Richard Wright was amazing in that band. Probably my number two guy in the band after Gilmore. Jason Webster, Dodgers win 10-5. Well, that's interesting. It's a wild card series, Professor. And
Yes.
Jason Webster isn't even impressed. I brought all this knowledge. Didn't even I just like off the hip. Is that the word I'm looking for?
So shooting from the hip, off the cuff.
Off
Yeah,
the cuff. Yes,
any
it
of
was
those
off
can
the
work. Yeah.
cuff. I wanted to say from the hip.
Yeah.
I combined off the cuff and from the hip into one stupid saying, but you know
Oh,
what? I
that's
like
fine.
it.
That's fine. It works.
Elizabeth Quince, we were in our hotel elevator with Roger Waters. No idea who he was. He asked about the crew. Once off turned to hubby and said, "God, you think he's a pilot?" I see what you mean. That's interesting. Never met the guy. But I don't have a strong opinion of him. But how did we even get here? What was our top story?
I don't know.
Richard Gere.
Going back and forth. Oh God, Richard Gere.
Richard Gere. I don't know where he was. They interviewed him. I think he's maybe somewhere. Is he in South America? I don't even know where Richard Gere is. They interviewed him, and he had something to
Yeah,
say.
I don't even know where he lives anymore.
He's so,
Like,
like, I barely even remember that, Richard Gere existed until this thing happened. But let me see if I can find this clip of Richard Gere complaining. It had a lot of layers to it.
he lives in Spain.
Yeah.
He lives in Spain now. So, he relocated there early in 2025. So, he's one of the people who fled the United States because of Donald Trump.
Ah,
Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, he's, I don't know what you have to share. I'll tell you, I know that, just a couple of years ago, Richard Gere, I believe he was on a migrant boat, with a bunch of illegal immigrants talking about why they were an important part of America and needed to be allowed onto the boat and stuff. I don't remember the whole video. I think it was back in 2003, but it was absolutely absurd. Like, see, these people, they need to be allowed into America because they're going to bring so much value to, whatever. And it's like, what are you talking
Here,
about?
I'll try to play whatever I have here. And I thought this was very annoying, but I'll share my thoughts about it in a second. It's a multi-layered, annoyance.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Oh, did you share it? Oh, we can't see it.
Oh,
Price.
you can't see it? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Good
You'll
call,
start over.
Professor. What did Caleb say?
Okay, Caleb said. Well, he said, "Kudos to Gear for sticking to his word and actually leaving when he said he would." Here's my only problem. They need to leave. I appreciate that, but once they leave, they need to renounce their citizenship as well. If they're
Or
going to flee because they don't like the political leadership that we've elected, they need to leave and then renounce their citizenship. They need to become a citizen of a different country, because if they're just going to flee when they don't like the way the vote goes, then they're not Americans. So
it's
they just
true,
need to get the hell out and not come back.
but this is even worse, Professor, and this is the ultimate kind of condescending, snobby thing. They leave, but then they want to lecture about American politics and the
Exactly.
world as if they live here, but then they don't even want to be here. So that's
Exactly.
listen to Richard Gere now. This is like I just every word that he said was annoying. He speaks 39 seconds, and every one of these seconds I thought he was a complete, buffoon.
Course. No, I mean, we have a president who's completely, he's not only crazy, he's a dark, dark presence. And it's happened so quickly. 6 months, he's almost destroyed our country.
What would be your message to Netanyahu, to Bibi?
Oh, he has to go. He has to go. This is not someone who can change. He has to go. And all the enablers in the coalition that he has together, they all have to go.
So this is Venezuelan news, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
one of the most trustworthy sources in news, Venezuela.
That's where you get the real story from
That's where you
Venezuela
get,
news.
yes, exactly. That's where you get the real story of what's happening in the world is from Venezuelan news.
Double R Star says Gear moves to Spain and all the Spanish gerbils get nervous.
Yeah,
It's
poor
funny.
gerbils.
Do you know why that rumor supposedly started? There's a
I think
rumor
I've
that
heard it before, but I don't remember exactly why it got started.
apparently Stallone and Richard Gere were in a movie together, or I don't even know if this movie ever came out. And I don't know if Richard Gere had a sandwich. Sounds bizarre, but this is a story I heard. I don't know if it was Richard Gere that had the sandwich that was leaking on Stallone's jeans or something. Somebody annoyed somebody, and we're talking like they're much younger than today. You know what I mean? We're talking like a much younger Gere and a much younger Stallone. Somehow they got on each other's nerves. I heard a rumor, and this is a rumor about a rumor about a rumor, that Richard Gere believed that the person that spread spread the rumor about the gerbil was Stallone. That's what he thought. That Stallone, after the sandwich incident, was the one that spread that rumor.
Hmm,
Interesting, though.
okay.
I don't know. Stallone is usually a based guy, so I can't. I don't want to. I don't know if he had anything to do with it, but usually, he knows what's up. Stallone. I can't really argue with him. Although there have been a few movies I thought Richard Gere was good in. I thought he was good in Pretty Woman. I'm ashamed that I watched that movie and I rather enjoyed it back in the day. An Officer and a Gentleman. No, it's not the kind of movie that I rewatch all the time. I thought he was pretty good in that. Those were movies that I thought he was good in, but it's not like I sit around like actively looking for Richard Gere movies. Those movies were released like 40, 40 years ago. Later on, he had like these movies that he's like taking dance classes with Jennifer Lopez and Chicago, where he's like singing show tunes and stuff. That's the kind of stuff that, like, obviously, I'm not even, I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never understood why this particular rumor continued to spread about different people. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But yeah, the whole thing with the gerbilectomy
So, so,
being
so
necessary.
the few things that I have an issue with is, uh, first of all, he doesn't even live in America. So what's he babbling about? Like, he's not there. He
Yeah.
got up, he left. What do you know? What's dark and not dark? It's a presence. It's not. You're not even here. You're not living the day to day life here. Even when you were living here, you weren't really living the day to day life. You can pretend you're a Buddhist or whatever it is. Your bank account has like like 50 million, $100 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy. It's not
Oh
like
yeah.
he wasn't sitting in some like shanty town,
No,
eating
he's living in a gated community with
exactly.
servants and people taking care of everything for him in his life. I believe he owned a $10 million mansion before he moved.
What did he
Uh,
do?
I say I believe he owned and lived in a $10 million
I'm sure
mansion.
that this guy is a phony baloney
Yeah.
guy. I don't mind it if there's a movie and you need a phony baloney guy to do whatever he does, but outside of that, really don't have any interest in what he has to say. What's interesting to me is there's a few things. First of all, this is dark. It's the worst thing. It's interesting that some of these celebrities throughout, let's say, the Biden years, and I say this, somebody that wasn't really tied to any, really, I don't even love politics, but objectively, there were a lot of things happening that weren't good when he was president. There were other presidents that things were happening that not everything was good. Never heard this Richard Gere guy say a word, but now it's like the end of the world, so that's one thing. Then the other thing with like Netanyahu that they're asking him, it's like, okay, let's just say he's a citizen of America. He's not living here. The other guy, he has nothing to do with it. He's like, oh, he's got to go. Like, what about his coalition? It's like, dude, you're not a citizen of that country. I mean, it's just kind of strange to me. He doesn't like the elected government and the coalition. I mean, I guess you could not like the government of a country, but like with such authority, he's like, oh, like he has to go, he has to this, he has to that. It's like, well, what are you talking about? You have nothing to do with that place. I don't even know if like you can find it on a map. I don't know. It's really bizarre to me. The final thing that I'll say is that first of all, there's nothing wrong with not liking a leader, and even like Netanyahu saying like you don't like him or you don't want him to be there or whatever. But the type of authority in which this guy speaks, it's like, as what? As what are you speaking? I never hear these same type of celebrities. The same like what I said with Biden. I never hear these guys saying like, oh, like the Hamas are bad. Where's like, why don't you return the hostages? None of these people, none of these guys that like put on keffiyehs or whatever it is and like start whining about stuff. Never hear them say anything about that. I mean, personally, I think that if you're a celebrity and you're living far away from a conflict and you know nothing about it, I always tell you this, Professor. It's best just not say anything at all. And if you're really pushed and you want to pretend you're like a big, larger than life person that's like pretending to be knowledgeable about something, you can just say, hey, you know what? There's hostages. I really want to see them released. I don't like seeing other civilians getting killed, like on either side. I really want like peace, blah, blah, blah. At least say that and just fuck off, which I also think that it's best not even to get involved. But if you insist, try to give like a peaceful message and then, fuck right off. But nope, they have their quote unquote principles, if you know what I mean. It's
Mhm.
never a two-sided thing. They always seem to skip over certain things that doesn't fit whatever narrative they seem to peddle.
No, no, and again, they all just live in this bubble. They're in a total bubble where, everyone around them is all just repeating the same things over and over. Remember, Richard Gere is one of those people that went and supported Hugo Chavez when he was running Venezuela. These people, they have no shame whatsoever. They go out and they support absolute dictators, and then they come out and be like, "Oh well, yeah, Trump's a dictator." It's like, what?
Uh,
Absurd.
Elizabeth,
Absolutely absurd.
Elizabeth Quinn says, "Love Chicago. He was a perfect slimy lawyer." Honestly, I didn't really see that movie. Yiddish says, "I liked it when he played a villain in Internal Affairs. You know what? If I had to give like top 3 performances, that would be in the top 3. That's a movie that also has Andy Garcia in it, I believe, and Richard Gere plays sort of like a crooked cop that's kind of a jerk.
Huh.
It actually works. It actually somehow works.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have thought that casting would have worked for that movie. Have to say that that's one of Richard Gere's better performance. I thought that was Sean Penn. Gere did that too. Sean Penn played a slimy lawyer in Carlito's Way. Did that wonderful.
Oh, I think you were saying Sean Penn going and breaking bread with Hugo Chavez. Yes, they both did. Yes, Sean Penn and Richard Gere both did.
It
Went
also
and supported him.
It goes back, it's also this kind of pattern of the far left kind of activism. There's something in Ukraine, they put all those Ukrainian flags in their bio. They love Ukraine, they love this. Now, it's fine that you don't want people to die, or you're saying this is a bad conflict, people are dying on both sides and whatever. But the conflict between Ukraine and Russia is like many conflicts, complicated. And I think the majority of the people, even if they think they understand some of what goes on there, I think that if you're not from there and you don't live and breathe that, there's something that's missing, some kind of context that's a bit missing there. That I always think that's why I don't love weighing in on that conflict. And that's why when everybody started putting all these flags in their bio, I don't like putting flags if I'm not 100% sure that I am living and breathing that conflict. Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah, and I totally understand what you're saying, because when you're like, oh well, Russia invaded this, whatever, Russia, they're the aggressors, they're the aggressors. Okay, I get that, I get that, but on the other hand, there are literally some groups that are part of the, army resistance, whatever you want to call it, in Ukraine, that are very literally Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, they ascribe to that belief system. They like, and that's effed up, right? I don't want to support that,
No, I
right?
don't want to support
And
it either.
and there's also a truly staggering amount of corruption going on over there in in Ukraine, right? Absolutely staggering amount of corruption. There's all of this money that is poured in from all of these different areas, all these different countries that have been sending all that money. We sent billions, all these other European countries sent billions. Amazing. All of these generals that suddenly are turning around and buying multi-billion, or not billion, multi-million dollar, apartments and houses and stuff in France and Spain and in other places. Like, how does that happen? Seems interesting, right? Like,
Right.
that seems there's just so much corruption over there. It's wild. And yeah, it's a wild thing that's happening. It's and now, like, I don't even know what's going on over there. Clearly, uh Putin has decided this is a hill that he is willing to, I mean, not necessarily die on, I suppose, but the hill, he's willing to keep this fight going for either for holding, just keeping his end up to prove to his people that he's done the right thing, save face, whatever. That's it. I'm not sure. He's convinced he's going to win this in the end. I don't know. Uh, and then we also have everything that's going on in Ukraine with the leadership over there, where I genuinely don't think they want to end the war, because if they did, well, all the money that uh, they've been corruptly spreading around is suddenly going to dry up, right? So, and then of course the power that's being held by the leader, the president there, he would have to give that up, because right now he's only allowed to continue in his position without elections because of the war. And yeah, I just think there's a lot of stuff going on over there that I don't think either side actually wants to see an end to this, because they're both benefiting from it in some way. So it's just so frustrating. But of course, now sounds like the U.S. is going to start supporting Ukraine again, and Trump seems to think that Ukraine can take back all of their land and whatever. And
I'm not
it
sure
just
why. This thing. I was hoping that this thing would stop being a headache, and yet it continues to be a headache. Six says, quotes me. I don't even love politics. The man who puts Trump on every thumbnail. Okay, so first of all, I want to say something. Back in the day when the Night Owl started, and you can go watch the first episode, which is me rambling to myself. The idea of the show was to talk about a lot of pop culture stuff that was happening, but the thing is that around the time of the election, and the professor was here for that whole period of time, and especially after very kind of serious things were happening, including the attempt on Trump's life and things like that. What happened is that a lot of people, at a late hour, were really looking also to talk and to address these type of issues. And yeah, I admit I may not be the most political person in the world, but maybe that makes me okay to speak about it. In terms of like, I'm not aggressively telling people what to be or how to feel, or who to like or what to do, but I think it's sort of a relaxed late night conversation that we have. Uh, I hope that we bring some kind of something that people enjoy. It seems to be something that people wanted, so we kind of got into it. But e even now, I don't consider myself like a heavy, aggressive political show. I don't know if I
yeah.
explained that well, but I
No, no, yeah. I mean, I love talking pop culture and stuff. We have opportunities to do that on a lot of other, panel shows and stuff too, right? So it kind of feels like, maybe we've talked about that a lot somewhere else. Maybe there's other stuff we talk about here. Yes, we do still come back and talk about, pop culture.
we do
Uh,
everything here.
we talk about lots of different stuff. So yeah. Uh hey, the Trump thumbnails get the clicks, man. So
I can't argue with that either. They do get the clicks, but at the same time, there was a shift. I felt that people wanted to hear more about this because things were happening, and they're to just try to tiptoe around it and just completely ignore it in a kind of a late hour conversation the way we have here. The way this show is set up, it's like the professor and I, it's the equivalent of us meeting for a beer and just hanging out and talking about everything that's going on, and just like two friends do. And we're doing it with a lot of you cool people hanging out with us in the chat, and we have this nice thing that I feel like we have a little community here, this kind of late night community, and we're really enjoying it. But I still maintain that we're not like an aggressive, heavy political show. We don't come out with like all these crazy theories and all these like conspiracies and all this stuff. We just kind of talk about stuff, and usually it goes and it touches upon pop culture. Even now, Richard Gere, that's a pop culture thing.
yeah. And Six also said, it seems like you were telling Richard Gere he shouldn't be allowed to express an opinion on something, though.
It's not
Uh,
that I'm saying you shouldn't be allowed. I just think that there's a bit of hypocrisy, that the guy runs away from the country and wants to
yeah,
sit around in Spain talking to the Venezuelan news about like how much he hates this president of this country and that president or whatever. It's like, dude, and he's speaking with such authority as if like, he somehow, because he appeared in a few movies that people watched like, 20 years ago, that now he's like this number one authority and like commanding people. It's just, if nothing else, I think he comes off as a hypocrite, as condescending, and kind of annoying. Is he allowed to say this stuff to the Venezuelan people? Sure, he can tell Venezuela whatever he wants.
yeah.
Do I think that it comes off as stupid? Yes.
Yeah, I do not think he should be prevented from speaking. He has free speech. He can say what he wants.
Absolutely.
I think that his opinion doesn't matter. He got angry about the outcome of an election and fled the country. He should give up his citizenship. He should no longer be concerned with American politics. That is what I think. He's welcome to keep saying whatever he wants, but if he's going to be a baby and flee the country because the election doesn't go his way and he wants to, you know, take his ball and go home, then really do it. Go become a citizen. You love Spain so much, go become a citizen of Spain. Forget your citizenship here. You've given up on this country. You fled. You left. Give up on this country. You go away. You go become part of Spain. You start talking about their politics, and you just stay out of U.S. politics because you ran away.
He's still allowed to speak those things. I didn't
Of
say he
course,
wasn't, but
absolutely. He
to
can still
me, he
say
just
it,
comes off.
but
He comes off as a hypocrite. And I was also explaining that they always select certain things that they want to talk about and ignore other things. And to me, that makes them look like even bigger hypocrites and kind of
yeah.
dummies. But go on, Professor.
Well, I'm
Sorry.
just saying, I would say exactly the same thing about Rosie. I would say exactly the same thing about Ellen. I would say exactly the same thing about any of these Hollywood stars, these spoiled brats who said, well, the election didn't go my way, so I'm leaving. Okay, great. Then remove yourself from the conversation. If you are going to, if that's how you're going to do this, then go away. We don't want you to take yourself out of the situation, say, oh, I'm going to flee to another country. And then we have to keep putting up with your, frankly, your bullshit.
Yep.
Right. Sorry,
Sorry,
Sean.
Sean.
We don't, if that's the way you're going to do it, leave and then just stay out of it because you've decided you don't want to be part of the conversation anymore. If you're not going to be an American, you're not going to live in America. You're not going to be part of American society. And that's fine. You know what? If he wants to do that, if he wants to go live in Spain, if he thinks it's a great country and he has a lovely home there and wants to raise his family there, more power to him. That's great. He has the kind of money to go do that. But if you're going to say, oh, well, the someone I don't like is in office, so I'm going to leave the country, then I don't want to hear from you anymore. Go away.
I totally
That's
agree.
that's how I feel about it. It's genuinely how I feel about it. Not saying he can't still talk about it. He's got free speech, but I don't want to hear it.
Jason Webster says Richard Gere's wife's father is the former vice president of Real Madrid football team, soccer. I'm a Barcelona fan, so he's automatically not on my good list. Just kidding. Barcelona had a few years where they had some tremendous players. They had Messi on their team. There was those days there was like Messi, Neymar together. They were playing a lot of good stuff was happening with Barcelona. I don't even really know what's going on with that team now. I feel like I haven't tuned into one of their games recently. Maybe they have other stars now. I'm just trying to think who even is on their team. I'm surprising Professor with my knowledge.
Don't know.
Professor, you didn't think that I knew anything about sports, did you?
No, not really. Not really something you spent a lot of time talking about.
I don't, and I don't know anything about it. That's that's why I'm
just
surprising.
Just pulling it all out of his ass.
Just somewhere. I don't
somewhere
know.
up there.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Everything I said was probably wrong. In any case, Bingo Hasma says Sue Arafat, the widow of Yasser Arafat, has $8 billion in the bank made by selling off aid and corruption. She owns 8 million mansion and lives in France. There's our money. That is 100% correct.
Yes, it is.
There were years that that guy would walk around the world like as if he's some kind of like quote unquote refugee or whatever it is, collect billions and billions of dollars, wouldn't give his people even one penny of them. It turned out later he was investing in all this like real estate, high tech. He's sitting there like, standing in some shack like with his thing. You think he's like, eating like, sardines out of a can. Meanwhile, like his wife is on the French Riviera, like buying all this crap. It's such a sometimes there's a lot of going on with all these kind of conflicts, and a lot of time the people at the top, especially in these kind of type of I don't know if to say regimes or whatever you want to call it, uh, people at the top seem to be really inflating their pockets, if you know what I mean.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, and that's how it tends to go. The people at the top of these organizations, they will embezzle as much of this money as possible from all these different aid groups and such. It's quite frustrating, actually, to think. Uh, not that I've been giving my money to many of those particular groups, but you have all of these governments. You have our government giving this money to all of these, all these different groups to say, hey, here you can buy food with it, you can buy aid with it, you can do all this stuff with it, and then we find out, oh, it just went into that guy's pocket and his investment portfolio, and yeah, now he's worth $1 billion.
Jason Webster said in Spain, worldwide assets and income are tax exempt. That's interesting. Hi, Reacham 842. And hi, Dude Brosef. Cheers. And someone says it's been that way since the beginning of the time. You're right. It has. Uh, there was something I wanted to say, but now I don't know how I forgot. Oh, okay. So what I wanted to tell you is that all those people that have like the you know rainbow flags, the watermelons, emojis, the Ukrainian flag, BLM, all this nonsense that they all just put like 70 like movements and hashtags, and each time like there's a new it's really support the current thing, it's that meme. That's what all these people are.
Yeah,
And it's so crazy that so many of these woke people that like support all these causes, they don't understand what the causes are. They don't even, especially if it's something international like this, like people say, they don't know how to find these places on the map. They know nothing about what they're even supporting. As long as it's woke and somebody said it was cool and woke to do it, then they'll do it. It doesn't really matter. You see those videos sometimes where somebody goes and interviews people about actually answering questions about like the Ukrainian, conflict with Russia or the Middle Eastern, and they don't even know how to answer the most basic questions. Do you know those kind of videos that somebody like walks up and it's like they don't
oh,
even
yeah,
know
yeah, the man on
anything?
the street videos, yeah, where they go and they talk to people and ask them simple questions. My favorite are the ones where they go on campuses. I love that.
Yeah, the campuses. They're like,
Yeah, I've
what?
seen that myself. Yeah, they go on the campus and they're like, "Oh, hey, I heard, such and such. What do you think about that?" And then they reply, they're like, "Oh, yeah," and they just go off on this like clearly practiced, just rote, memorized version of what somebody else said to them or what some TikTok video told them they were supposed to say. And they have no real idea about the actual context of what's happened, or why, or who was involved, or what was actually said. It's just this, you know, just regurgitation of something that they've heard somewhere else. It rarely has anything to do with reality.
Istafobos sent a $1 Rumble rant, and I just want to address it. He says that's why the left was so quiet about India and Pakistan. No one told them how they were supposed to feel about it. You know what? You're onto something. They were actually rather quiet about it because they didn't know what to say.
Yeah, they weren't really sure if they should put an Indian flag in their bio or a Pakistani flag in their bio. They weren't really sure. They were too confused because, with two different sets of brown people aren't supposed to fight each other. That's not how the leftists view things, right? So, um, it's kind of
Somebody
funny.
says Stephen Mack, one of the greatest movie poster artist designers, has passed. Rip Renato Casaro.
Oh,
Um, I'm trying to think. What did he? I apologize that I don't know. I'm reading Flash Gordon, Conan the Barbarian, Octopussy, Never Say Never Again, Rambo, First Blood, Part
yes.
2, Red Sonja, Flesh and Blood.
Yeah. Oh, those posters.
Oh, he did The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
The
Yeah, he
the
has
the
a
bad and
really,
the
really
ugly.
rich,
Yeah, incredible,
history.
incredible. Yeah. Some of those are just some of the most iconic posters. The Flash Gordon poster, oh my god, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is definitely a classic. Not one of the most iconic, but is a great poster. The Yeah, some of those others like Red Sonja, the 1984 Dune poster. Yeah,
Certainly some
fantastic.
classic
Yes,
posters
well,
here for sure.
rest in peace, Renato. That's sad to hear, but, yeah, he's aged 89, when he passed in
Well,
his hometown of Treviso, Italy. So,
it's the Phobo says, "Oops, that was supposed to be $2." Very kind of you, Esta.
thank
It
you for
was
the extra
fine.
dollar.
It was totally fine as a $1 one, Esta. You're very nice, though. His Western posters were amazing. Yeah, he was looking at his stuff now. Really cool stuff. Uh,
Yeah, he was frequently, used, with, Dino De Laurentiis, was one of his early,
yeah.
supporters, helped him build out his portfolio, so, yeah. Yeah,
So, I guess we went over, Richard Gere bashes Donald Trump. There was
yeah.
something else today that, you know I saw that, Trump had some kind of executive order that he's trying to something about drugs for not drugs.
Oh, yeah, there's a new drug plan thing,
Well, first of all, he wants
with
Americans to
Pfizer.
pay, like, lower rates for, drugs from Pfizer, and then there was
Yeah,
something about, like, cancer research for children or something like that.
well, see if you can find what story, you were looking for, because yeah, I know that, there was an executive order some time ago that he signed, basically saying that, U.S. drug companies, if they're gonna sell drugs, to other countries, in the world, they need to have a most favored na or, favored nations kind of agreement where it's like, "Hey, eh, we're the country that helped you build your company, right? We provide all the infrastructure. You're here in the US,
United States.
uh, so you should be giving us not necessarily preferential treatment, but if you sell your drug for a price in another country, you should at the very least give us the same price, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
that
like
was
a
kind of
favored
favored
nation
nations.
clause.
Yeah, it's favored nations thing. So he basically saying, look, you just can't go to England and sell it for $300 and then sell it for $1,200 in the US. Is a favored nations deal. If you're going to sell you're here in the US, if you're going to sell it for for the equivalent of $300 over there, you have to also sell it here for the equivalent of $300. And actually that's a great move. I remember when he passed that and was signing off on that, because that's an incredibly smart move. You're not putting price controls in place. You're simply saying, "Look, if you're gonna charge this much anywhere, you can't charge 2 and 300%, here in the US just because we're more wealthy and we can afford it." That's not acceptable, right? If you're gonna sell it for some price somewhere else, you gotta sell it for the same price here. So that was incredibly smart. It's not strict price controls. It's more like, helping to even out the market a little bit without them being able to take advantage of any particular market, especially the US. So go ahead and
I
play your
agree.
thing there,
I
please.
I generally agree because they really do take advantage of Americans with those pricing. Let me see what they
The
say.
United States had just 4% of the world's population and consumers, only 13% of all prescription drugs, yet pharmaceutical companies make 75% of their profits from the United States. So think of that. We have 4% of the market, 13% of prescription drugs, and yet, Albert, I didn't know you were that violent. I'm surprised you're agreeing to this.
I'm getting better.
No, he's doing the right thing. Thank you. And yet they make 75% of their profits from the American customers. So it's something. That's why I signed an executive order combating this practice, and we signed it very happily a little while ago. Today, Pfizer is committing, as will other drug companies as we go through the weeks. But Pfizer is truly one of the biggest in the world and one of the greatest in the world. Today, Pfizer is committing to offer all of their prescription medications to Medicaid and It will be at the most favored nation's prices. It's going to have a huge impact on bringing Medicaid costs down, like nothing else.
Okay, well, he did his usual thing.
Yeah, imagine focusing on
The United States had just
making Medicaid less expensive to the federal government so that we can actually afford to support all the people who are on Medicaid. I mean, that's a shocking
It's not
idea.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. Yeah, I'm sure nobody's gonna say anything positive, and that's the thing. I mean, I I realize that a lot of times, when there's an issue or Trump wants to say something, he's kind of out there. But here and there, like he does stuff that's not bad, and it's fair to acknowledge that. And the other thing is that maybe he talks like in a very kind of bonkers way. But if you kind of try to decipher look at sort of the core thing of what he's saying. A lot of times he's saying stuff that's true. He just goes about saying it in a way that's kind of maybe not an easy sell for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
I
what I'm
know
trying to say? Like,
No, I know what you mean. Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of times where like he has an argument that actually makes sense, but he wraps that argument with so much crazy stuff that he adds that I think that a lot of times people kind of, especially people that don't like him or whatever it is, they kind of lose the part that maybe he's making at least some kind of sense sometimes. And this is a welcome thing. I mean, I think this is a good idea. I can't think of any reason not to support it.
Well, this
There's
is
another thing that I saw here
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that I guess Bill O'Reilly was talking about, like Disney now, that the reason they brought back Kimmel because a lot of I guess these more left wing people were canceling Disney Plus. It's funny that they were canceling over this guy. Another funny thing is, and I was again one of the early people to point this out, is that immediately after the first night that Jimmy Kimmel came back, all the media, all those kind of CNN and MSNBC and all those guys like New York Times or whatever, they all went and said how like this is the best thing that ever happened and how Jimmy Kimmel had the best ratings and it's the best thing. And then mysteriously, for a day or two or three, nobody was reporting the Nielsen ratings, including I feel like Nielsen themselves. Nobody wanted to admit that the day after that big rating spike that he came back, his ratings tanked completely. And with every additional day, they tanked even more. And suddenly, like, the news isn't reporting anymore on the ratings. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to do anything. And very disingenuous. I knew right away that they were just gaslighting because his ratings pretty much now are the same crappy ratings that he had before the scandal.
Yeah,
It didn't
they're only like a point or two better than before the scandal. Like he's back down. I think from that peak that he hit during the day that he came back when when everybody was talking about it and whatever they wanted to see what he had to say. He's back down. I think he's dropped 60-70% since that day. So yeah, it's kind of
No, I actually think that
amusing.
67% was last week. If I'm not mistaken, by now, he's already like dropped 90%. He's very, very close to what he was before, even closer now. So obviously, this was just a moment, and I think most of the people that watched him were people that didn't even like him. I think that even there were some people that were maybe completely disliked what he had to say, but were just curious what he was saying upon his return. And the second he returned and said what he said, nobody cares anymore. It was a failing show before, it's a failing show now, and I'm just going to listen to this because this is something about the Disney cancellations, I think.
There's an article in the Wall Street Journal today about Kimmel. And I said this last week on News Nation, that this Kimmel suspension and then reinsertment into the ABC lineup wasn't what the press was reporting. It had nothing to do with freedom of speech at all. And the Journal today lays out what I said last week, is that the talent agencies in Los Angeles, all left-wing, 100%, threatened Disney and Bob Iger and said, if you don't put Kimmel back on the air, a lot of our clients not going to do business with you. That means you're not going to get actors and producers and writers and directors. Take it to another studio. Iger surrendered on the spot. And then Kimmel went back. Now, think about that. Think about the power that the left in Hollywood has to bring a company like Disney to its knees.
It's an interesting thought. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it sounds legit to me. That the agencies and their, of course, their clients would be saying, "Look, we're not going to work with Disney if you don't bring them back." That kind of BS seems like would be exactly the type of thing that would put pressure on Disney to bring him back. I honestly think they were going to bring him back within a few days anyway. I think that was never something that was going to last a particularly long time, but I think it all got completely blown out of proportion. Everyone's screaming about their free speech rights and whatever when it was never about that.
No, I bookmarked this thing, and I don't know why I bookmarked it. Maybe it amused me. I have no idea. I'm just gonna play it.
This
Maybe it
earth,
just
and I feel like if you're quiet when so many injustices are happening, not just here, but Palestine, Sudan, Congo, etc., then I literally blocked my brother yesterday. I'm not speaking to my mom, my stepmom, my dad. I'm collecting them like Pokemon. I'm like, who can I block next? And it stinks, but I just think that you have to stand for something. And I think
Yep.
as you get older or mature, and I feel like you guys are already far more mature than I was at your age, you have to stand for what matters to you. And when you see things happening, you have to say something, in my opinion. And I understand that there's like safety concerns, and I have a lot of privilege as a cis white woman saying those things, but I can't stay
Cis
silent.
white
I never
cow.
will. I said yesterday, like, the right people will find you. The right opportunities will find you. The right friends will find you. The right jobs will find you. And
No, they
it's
won't.
not worth a check to compromise your integrity. Yeah.
Like,
So
just the way she talks, like, you could tell
when
how I don't wanna say this, Professor. I'm
yeah.
tempted to say, fine, I'll just say it. She sounds so stupid and dumb. You just hear, like, 2 words out of her mouth. You can tell how dumb this lady is.
Well, this she is a perfect example. Everything she had to say is a perfect example of why so many people are now starting to wake up to see that this ideology, that this side of the argument is a cult. It is a cult. This is what a cult does, Price. When they
Yep.
have people who are not part of their movement, who will not engage with them or will not necessarily engage them, but won't accept everything that they have to say. They're not supportive of everything that they're going to do or every ideology that they have. What cults do is they tell their adherents to cut those people out of their lives. They have to disconnect from those people so that the cult itself can then reinforce that person. They force that person to separate themselves, cut themselves off from other members of their family, friends, whoever it is, and then they have to fall back for support, have to fall back on members of the cult. That's how these things work. And the left has consistently, specifically the most progressive side of the left, has consistently been pushing this idea for the past decade that if you have people in your life that do not support every one of our little ideas, they don't support every little piece of the ideology, then you have to cut them out of your life rather than sitting down and talking to them, rather than sitting down and being able to just agree to disagree and to remain connected to people. You've got to separate yourself. You've got to take yourself away from and cut people out of your life. That is what a cult does, and that is why people look at what has been happening in this most progressive side of left-wing politics and have said this behavior is not normal. It is cult-like. That is a perfect example of it. Also, exercise. It's good for you. It's good for you. Yeah.
I I'm gonna. There's nothing I say now is gonna come out good. I wanted to say that I was trying to ignore the elephant in the room, but then that probably comes off as insensitive. I was gonna say it just I was gonna say it without really thinking about this situation, but then I realized that that could come off as offensive. Uh, Six says blocking people shuts down the conversation.
It does, and that's
Listen,
what they want. That is exactly what they want. They don't want you to have a conversation. They want you to only consider the point of view of your specific ideology of them. If it's a cult, they do not want you to talk to people who will question your ideology. They want you only to talk to people, engage with people who will reinforce your belief system. And so that's what that is how things work, right?
yeah, I also want to say sometimes maybe somebody has a problem and they're just, they're kind of plump or overweight. I myself, I've said it before, really want to lose like at least 20 pounds myself. But I think that in this case, this is a situation where, more, I don't know if to say more immediate action needs to be taken.
More drastic measures
Yes,
need to be
it
taken.
feels like more like, yes, more drastic measures. But again, if she was sitting here and she seemed like a genuinely like lovely person, and this was something that she needed to deal with, I would just say, hey, she seems like a lovely person, but maybe this is something she should look into. But the fact that she doesn't seem like a very lovely person,
Who even is this?
I don't even know. I don't even know how I got to. It was so stupid that I
I
bookmarked it.
I don't even know who this person
Who is this
is.
person?
I don't
Yeah, I
even
don't
know
even
why
know.
I should care. I mean, yeah, no, I'm not the world's slimmest man, but at the same time, good lord. Like really? Like
Right.
try taking the stairs instead of the elevator, maybe. I don't know. Something.
Empress M says, Price, you could easily get rid of the cat to lose 20 pounds. Not really sure what that means. What does she mean by that, Professor?
Which what I don't know.
I don't understand it. I'm trying to, and I don't get it. I'm like Cynthia Erivo in that. No, I'm like Ariana Grande. Let me see. Wait a sec.
Six says, "Give me a link to the tweet. I will find her."
Uh, Hold on one second. Let me find it. I'm gonna find this.
Body positivity activist Tess Holiday. Of course, she's a body positivity activist.
Body positivity. I
Good
love that she managed to.
gracious.
I don't know why this is funny, but our friend Z3PO answered her and said, "Tell her cake is made in Israel." You know what? That's kind of
Oh,
funny,
Z.
Z3PO. That's kind of
Oh, I
funny.
love it. I love it, Z. That's
You
excellent.
did good, man. You did good.
Damn, he is funny. He really is.
In any
Uh,
case, so yes, that's what that is.
so body positive. I'm not in any way surprised that that's a body positivity activist. The whole body positivity movement, the healthy at any weight movement, is an absolute joke. You know what? If you're carrying around a few extra pounds here and there, you're probably all right. As long as you're, taking care of yourself, you're eating well, you're getting some exercise. There's a lot of other things in life that can affect you more than your weight. If you're particularly overweight, obese, or you know, look like you ate two other human beings, then yeah, you probably need to do something else. Body positivity ain't going to help you, and it is quite amusing that I mean, amusing on a maudlin kind of way, that there's a lot of these body positivity influencers on TikTok and whatever that keep dying. I'm not sure why that's happening, Price, but I'm sure that there's some researcher somewhere could potentially put together, the different contributing factors
Maybe they could. I mean, listen,
across
and
these
like I
people.
always say, I think that a lot of people could lose, and I say this about myself, could lose a few pounds. But I think that this is a situation. I also, like you said, this whole body positivity thing. I never know how to feel about it. You know, on the one hand, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm a bit overweight and I feel comfortable in my body," and that's perfectly fine, and I don't have an issue with that. But once you start all with all this body positivity and all these things, it almost encourages people to kind of be that way, and that's where I think it's a problem. You're not supposed to encourage people to do it. You can say to people, "Hey, be nice," even if somebody may be overweight. You should be kind and nice to people, but I don't know. The body positivity thing, I'm not really buying into that.
Oh, it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Let me see for a second. I wanted to share something else that I saw with you. Let's see if I can share it. So it's this thing.
Charlie Kirk shouldn't have gotten shot. Obviously, that's terrible. He got like publicly executed. It was terrible. But at the same time, this is a dude who repeatedly said the Civil Rights Act shouldn't have been passed.
Liar.
Not at the same time. Two things.
Yeah.
You're about to make the AOC mistake. Charlie Kirk never said the Civil Rights Act. I've studied this very deeply. And it's pretty simple. It'll take you 5 minutes. It's not what he said.
I've looked it up.
What he said was,
No, you didn't.
Civil Rights Act, good. Needed it. Great.
No.
Was then used
Yes.
to implicate DEI and do these other things by extension of that law that he was against, and that it should have never been used for those purposes. Not to help black people vote. That's he believed in. But to make it as an extension of a welfare program for blacks in every manifestation, that he was against.
Yep.
Now, I happen to disagree. I actually think it was necessary.
Nope. I've heard him make that argument.
He didn't say get rid of it.
I've heard him
Never
make
should
that
have
argument.
passed it.
I didn't say he said get rid of it. He said they never should have passed it. And he also used to
No, he didn't.
right. They never should have passed it in the first place. And he made also,
no, I don't think he did say that. I think what he said was the way that what they did with it made it a mistake.
When your voice of reason is Chris Cuomo, you know, like that this is a bad situation.
Pretty shocking. Yeah, it's kind of like recently as everyone started waking up to the fact that apparently John Fetterman, stroke victim, might be the most sane member of the Democratic caucus in Congress. The guy who shows up in hoodies to Congress might be the most sane member of the Democratic caucus.
It's true, though. It is true, I think.
Today he came out. What was it that he sent out today? People were just like losing their minds over.
Wait, before I show it, I just want to actually show people what Charlie Kirk did say, if I can. Just because I really don't like that they keep saying this over and over again. It's so disingenuous. I mean, a 1 minute, like even what this Cuomo guy, I'm not a fan of, was saying, it's enough that you Google this for 2 seconds and the answer is there.
If you had the opportunity, you would get rid of the Civil Rights Act?
No, I think you should have a one-page bill that says that racial discrimination based on race is illegal and will not be tolerated in the United States of America. I would simplify it. I would not have all. So what happened is that the Civil Rights Act has 9 different titles in it, and you have this Leviathan that was created. And something that most Black Americans don't support is men and female sports. Would you agree?
Wait, say that again?
Men playing in female sports.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I know. No, for sure, right? Yeah. Believe it or not, the Civil Rights Act is now being used to keep men playing in women's sports. So the Civil Rights Act was used to help Black America originally. Totally get that. But now the way it was written is that any claim of identification, so someone says, I'm a woman, therefore I can compete in your volleyball team, they come in with a civil rights claim. And so what we're saying is, no, it should be specified to racial, not gender, all that other stuff. And there were all these other provisions as well.
There you go. And that's
and
he's been consistent in that. You could find 4 or 5 other videos where
says
he
the
has
same
said
thing
the
every time.
exact
Yeah.
same thing, that he totally okay with the Civil Rights Act, and honestly, he referred to the Civil Rights Act and the ideas behind it as noble, quote, "noble." That they had a very specific, very intentioned purpose behind why they did what they did in setting that forward and creating that. But as he says, it's too complicated. There's too many loopholes. It allows them to manipulate it and change things based on how we interpret different language. And that has allowed things like uh saying, well, we have to let men into women's sports because they say they're men. And that's what he's saying. Like it's not that it was that there's a problem with having ever passed that black men should still be in chains. That's what he that's what's people keep trying to say he was saying. No, he was saying that the actual bill itself was noble, it was good, it was right, it was necessary, but the complexities that they created with the way that the bill was written unfortunately opened a lot of different loopholes that could be manipulated and used in ways that that bill was never intended to be used. Yeah, it was very,
Absolutely.
and honestly, I feel like exactly the same way. Uh, that's part of the problem that we have when you write these bills that are 100, 200, 300,000 pages long. Is there's so many little provisions and provisos, so many little places where they insert this language and that language and whatever, and then eventually those kinds of things can be taken advantage of. They can find loopholes, they can find ways to manipulate it, and it's wild. So, yeah, this is, I'll show you. This was yesterday, well, 2 days ago, actually, on 28th, and, people were losing their minds over this price.
Did you share it?
Yeah.
Okay, here.
John Fetterman. Unchecked extreme rhetoric like labels as Hitler or fascist will foment more extreme outcomes. Political violence is always wrong, no exceptions. We must all turn the temperature down. And people on the left were losing their mind over this. People were saying that that's not right. That's not okay. You can't. No, he's saying what everyone should be saying. And essentially what a lot of people on the right, Republicans have been saying, look, political violence is simply unacceptable. It doesn't matter who it's happening to or who's perpetrating it. We can't do this. But if you're going to keep pointing fingers, then we're going to keep investigating and pointing out that no, these are actually left-wing people. And then they say, "Well, stop pointing fingers." It's like, "Well, but you're the one who keeps trying to say these people are right-leaning. You're the one who keeps trying to say that these are MAGA supporters or whatever. So we have to keep pointing it out that you're wrong. So maybe we just all stop calling each other these really, nasty names." Of course, he also included this report from Axios down here, which is BS because it uses this research from the ADL, which is a complete fabrication. It's absurd. Uh, we never really talked about that price, but yeah, there's the research that they used there was absurd. Basically, it says, oh, so right wing violence is so much higher than left wing violence, and then when you actually look at the data, it's because of like two or three different things. Like one, there's a whole bunch of stuff that they just didn't report. Like essentially in 2020, there's absolutely no reporting in there whatsoever of any of the people that died during BLM riots. All completely ignored. And then any violence that happens that involves someone doing some sort of violence against someone in the government is just automatically counted as right wing. It doesn't matter what their ideology was or what their reasons were for the attack. If you look in there, look at some of the cases that are counted, it's ridiculous. There's like a case where some guy attacked his neighbor with a hammer or something, and his neighbor happened to be happen to be Muslim or something, and so they say, "Oh, it's right-wing violence." It's absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's
I believe that.
completely discredited. It's garbage.
I believe that. Let me think if there. This is the thing that I wanted to show you.
Yeah.
Let me see. That's the thing with the cancer.
Years. Do they know why that? Do they have any idea why that's
We are
happening?
doing that research, and Jay Bhattacharya can talk about that. We're doing that research now for the first time. We're focusing on that, in particular colon cancers and these cancers that never affected children before, and suddenly are epidemic in our children. And we're going to find the causes. They're environmental causes. We're going to identify them and work to eliminate them.
I guess they're helping children with cancer or something. There was one final thing.
I didn't see that today, but yeah.
There's some kind of initiative to help cancer research for kids and stuff like that. I'm all for that. There's nothing.
Oh
Seem
yeah,
like
absolutely, and it's well, of course, we just just a few hours ago we left September, but September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. There's a lot of different groups that raise money for for different groups, specifically. Oh, of course, I just forgot. The Children's Cancer Research Group.
There's something else
Yeah.
that like Hexeth today was like saying that people should lose weight. I don't know if this is the clip.
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit.
I don't know if that's the clip I wanted to play, but it's funny. Maybe this is the part. No, there was something about him people needing to lose weight. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, about the bunch of the fat generals. Yeah,
Yes.
like essentially saying like that generals need to be able to continue to pass the same standards that the soldiers have to. I think there was
This is
some
it.
talk
This is
about
it
that
here.
at one point.
With physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations or really any formation and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the joint force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year, as well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year, every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our joint force is required to do PT every duty day. Should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already.
I don't know how how practical that is with some of the kind of older generals that are fat. Don't know what he's going to do with that one.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be.
I mean, I don't generally disagree. It's good to be in shape, especially the younger soldiers. But usually when you get like the kind of older generals and whatever, they may not be as thin. I don't know if you can make them do PT twice a week or twice a year, whatever it is. Hey, Tim
Yeah.
Hayes, how's it going?
And maybe they have some different standards, for people as they age or whatever. But yeah, to say like, oh, we got big old chunky, people, chunky generals walking around, like that's not good. That's not inspiring. That's not helping to inspire confidence in the people that are that are in charge. Right.
I think it's from the same speech that he's like, I don't want to see dudes in dresses. I don't know why that kind of amused me. I don't know why.
Hey, I mean, why should that be part of our U.S. military? I really have to be entirely honest. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I personally don't care what people do again in their private lives, but I don't know exactly, about a military setting, how appropriate that is.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like, why is that okay for for our military forces? I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know either. I don't know either. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I would say that I'm going into dangerous territory. I think that generally, if you're one of the people that you're like you want to dress like a woman and things like that, you don't have to go to the army.
Yeah, perhaps that's not your
Maybe
calling,
it's not the
right?
like the most natural of settings.
Yeah.
I've always said to you, I don't care what people do. If for some reason tomorrow you suddenly decided to wear dresses, I mean, that would be up to you. It's a free country. You could do that, professor. I can't tell you what to do.
They they are very comfortable. I never really considered it before price, but
Yeah, I mean, what am I? If somebody really insists on doing it, they can. That's why it's good that we live in a free country where people can do whatever they want. They can even do that, and I really don't care. It's not. It's not that I'm one of those people that walks around and then if there's that, like, I really care one way or another. I don't care what people do, as long as there's kind of like that everybody could just do their thing and they're not aggressively annoying other people. I think that that's fine. Uh, Speaking of aggressively annoying other people, there was some kind of, I think something triggered Elon Musk today with this something. It was some kind of something for kids about trans or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
oh, the new Netflix show. Yes. Yeah, there's a new show on Netflix that features a transitioning teenager, and it's a show that's recommended for 7 years and up on Netflix.
I think
Uh,
this is it. Let me see
yeah.
if I can play this clip. I haven't watched this clip until now. I just know that something is going around, so I'm going to look into it.
It's not the park. It's me. I'm trans, Norma. And everyone at school knows, and everyone at home knows. And being here, it's like a whole new place. I can just be Barney.
Is
and
the
I can
sound
choose
loud
if
enough?
and when I
Yeah.
do. I've never been happier. And that's saying something when I spent today chased by terrifying zombie mascots. Pugsley reminded me how important it is to live your life without apology. So I think I gotta give living here a shot. Don't you?
You don't need my permission. I just wouldn't want Courtney as a roommate. We'll be the best of friends.
So, yeah.
So the Transformer is gonna live with a demon hellspawn.
I don't even.
Interesting choice there. But yeah, there's been some PG rated, meant for kids. And it's got features, not just has, but features a transformer as one of the main characters in the show.
There's also,
yeah.
I guess, another PG rated documentary about, some Transformer activist that was doing stuff. Yeah, I don't know exactly. And also the guy that made that cartoon that we just saw, he seemed to be very pleased when news broke about the tragedy with Charlie Kirk. He seemed very excited about that. So
Yes, he was. The guy who wrote this show, created the show, very, very, very happy about what he referred to as a random Nazi getting shot. Yeah.
I'm just trying to see. I guess Elon Musk said he was canceling or something like that. I don't know if I can find it. I can't find his tweet. Did you see it?
Him canceling Netflix. I saw a lot of people posting about canceling Netflix.
No, but
over
I
this
guess it
stuff.
started with him. I'm just trying to find.
He kind of was leading the.
It said he was leading it, but I can't find. He wrote, "This is not okay." Did he write anything else? I thought that he said that he was canceling, but I guess I didn't find it.
Hmm.
I don't know if I missed something. If you saw something that I didn't, you can tell me. Oh, he retweeted this thing that we were just looking at. And then he also had some issue with Wikipedia. Did you see that he wanted to...
I missed that one today. What is that all about?
So basically, it's becoming more and more apparent to other people. I've known this for a long time.
Oh, yeah, as have I, yeah. I've known that it was a problem for a long
That
time.
basically, Wikipedia, they have a certain list of publications that they consider legitimate. And then they have publications they consider not legitimate. So if there's a story that somebody reported on in the New York Post or Fox News, that's not legitimate. It's not a legitimate source. If you
Yeah.
want to add it to Wikipedia, you can't add it if it was mentioned on those publications because they're considered like persona non grata. Whereas if it was like in the New York Times or something, it's immediately fact. So once you have like a list like this and a list like that, one has to wonder, where is this whole Wikipedia going? Who's controlling it? Who's controlling this narrative?
Oh, yeah.
And Elon Musk was saying that he wants to start something called Grokpedia, that he just wants to have his own Wikipedia to compete with Wikipedia. And I couldn't 100% tell if he was just saying that or he meant it. But to date, usually when Elon Musk says something like that, he usually means it.
Yeah, yeah. I would not be surprised to see something else trying to recreate that. The Wikipedia has been staunchly left wing and very pro censorship for about 10-15 years now. They started out as this great experiment, this great idea. We're going to put together all this research. We're going to put together all of these different sources. We're going to have them here, and it's going to be this great encyclopedia that's edited by the people of the internet and takes in the wisdom of crowds and whatever. Well, the problem is that all of the wisdom of the crowds that comes in there are specific editors that have been chosen to work in specific areas and have control over specific areas within Wikipedia topics and so on. And what happens is people come in and try to modify that, try to add something into that as editors in Wikipedia. And then you have people, essentially ideologues, who have been installed as editors in those different areas, who will immediately remove anything that does not completely agree with their own ideology. So generally, one of the first places that this started to show up was in climate science. People discussing anthropogenic global warming, right? If someone would come in, anyone would come in and post anything to say anything contrary to the globe is warming and it's humanity's fault, right? And it's happening because of CO2 and all these, these other greenhouse gases and whatever. Like if anyone were to come in and put anything in there that had anything to do with a different theory or a different, idea of, there's this decadal oscillation, or there's magma heating that happens. There's this cycle that happens with the sun. Anybody who would put anything in those Wikipedia articles about climate science and about global warming, climate, change and whatever, would immediately, those sources would be removed. And it's only increased, it's only gotten worse, and it is always with a bent towards progressive ideologies. This happens on articles about science, it happens on articles about people, it happens on articles about events. There were numerous different, just recently issues that have happened where they were, they didn't want to have an article. They literally said that they should remove the article about the killing of Charlie Kirk, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They didn't want to have that in Wikipedia. There were editors who were arguing against taking that out because saying he's not a notable character, he doesn't belong in here, whatever. Right. And so it's absolutely ridiculous. That's a huge cultural moment. It absolutely should be recorded in there, and it should be talked about frankly. It doesn't have to have a political spin one way or the other, but they can't manage that.
So
Right.
I want to thank Six. She sent me a DM with this. So this guy was saying just canceled my Netflix. If you employ somebody who celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk and makes content that pushes pro Transformers content on my kids, and then Elon Musk said same. So that was
Yeah.
one thing. Now Six sent me another one, and I want to thanks. You're a better searcher than me, Six. There's another one that she sent me that was also good. That she said that she believed that Musk retweeted this one, so I'm going to share this one as well. Share. So cancel Netflix, delete Netflix, and I guess he retweeted this, and it was I'll take both. So that was interesting. I wonder if this will turn into a real boycott or if anybody's going to do anything. But
I
Netflix.
mean, there was a similar thing that happened. If you remember a while back, there was they had a show called Cuties. Remember that? Kind of
Yeah, and nobody
glorified
did anything.
underage. Well, there were a lot of people who left, but again, it's a drop in the bucket, right? It's a drop in the bucket to the people who just continue to have their, subscription. I don't have a subscription to Netflix right now. There's nothing on there I care to watch. If they bring back a show that I wanna watch, I'll turn it on for a month, whatever, to watch it, and then I will turn it off again. Right? They don't really make anything that I just have to have all the time, every day, where I'm just gonna keep paying them money every month. Whenever the last season of Stranger Things comes back, turn it on so I can watch it. Whenever the next season of the live action One Piece comes back, me and my family enjoyed watching that, so we'll turn it on for that. But yeah, otherwise, I don't keep an active subscription to Netflix. They don't have anything on there that particularly interests me. So
I can understand that. Is Phobos, I guess, saying that he wore a skirt in India and Thailand? Although I'm not 100% sure why. Uh, when I traveled to the Far East years ago, I had something that was like it was like pants, but they were very kind of I don't know how to explain it. They had a name, but I can't remember what the name was. They were kind of very thin and very long and kind of breezy, but it wasn't a skirt. It was actual pants for whatever that's worth. Why Istaphobos was wearing a skirt, I'm not 100% sure, unless I didn't understand his tweet, his whatever it is, the YouTube message. Sorry, Istaphobos. Maybe I don't have context into what you were talking about here. And I think I wore kind of these bell bottoms. Why was I wearing bell bottoms? I don't
yeah,
know.
I'm trying to remember what is it Doties or I'm trying to remember. There's a name I think for what you're talking about. This sort of baggy, thin, light.
Baggy thin pants, very
Yeah.
baggy and thin, but it is pants. Like there's a right pant and like and a left pant, and it's pants. It wasn't like a skirt.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ista. I don't even know what I'm talking about, so I didn't mean to offend you. I feel like is the Phobos. I was telling Six I never wore dresses, and she asked about skirts. Still don't understand it, but I'll take your word. Word for it.
Yeah, it's not
Meant that they're kind of
it's
like a
not
dress.
jodhpurs.
No,
Those are different.
they were
Yeah.
not like a dress. The thing is, a dress is when it's like you don't have the pants on. What I wore was pants. There was like a separate thing that covered each leg separately from top to bottom. But they were very kind of baggy and thin. That's all I'll say, because it suits the climate there. Sometimes it's really hot, so you want to have this kind of more breezy kind of pants. It's the best way I
Yeah.
can describe.
I think they're called Doties or there's another style called oh gosh, I can't remember. Churidar, Churidar. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but yeah, we used to have some Indian students that I went to grad school with. They actually, one of I probably told you this price. One of the guys that invited me, he was like, "Oh, I have my wedding. Everyone's invited. I'll pay your way to fly to India. Come be part of my wedding." But because his family was quite wealthy, and he was really excited about his wedding, wanted everyone to be there. There was just absolutely no way I could work it out. I already had a wife and kids and everything. I was like, "There's no way I can work this out." But he was real serious. He was like, "Anybody, like any of you, want to come to my wedding?" Of course, it was an arranged marriage in India, which is wild, right? But the whole thing, like, yeah, he was like, "I'll fly any of you there. I'll make sure you have all the clothes and you're put up in a nice hotel and everything." I was like, "Man, would that be a trip?" Just
So it was something like this. I guess they call it
Yeah.
fisherman pants. That's not what they
Fisherman
called it.
pants.
They didn't call it fisherman pants there, but this is kind of reminiscent of what that looked like.
Yeah.
Something along these lines. It felt like the ones that I wore was even like thinner, but I can't really explain it. But this was generally this kind of baggy and thin pants. That was big there. Also, I didn't pay $27.50 for it. Like I probably paid like about a tenth of that. Although today I don't know anymore. Back in the day you'd go there and things were very cheap. Like when I walked throughout the it's not the Grand Bazaar, it's not the main bazaar. What was it called there? Ugh. It was in Bangkok. In any case, if you go to the market there, I was like the king of the market. I had money to spend, and things were priced very reasonably. And you have the whole haggling. You'd haggle. Like I'd be haggling probably over
Oh.
what the equivalent is, like 25 cents or something.
Oh, geez. See, the haggling culture, man. I could never hack it. I am a, like, just tell me the price kind of a situation. Like, I absolutely hate, like, having to buy a car. I do all the prep and everything beforehand so that I can just walk in the door and be like, "This is the price I'm paying," or I'm walking out the door because 'cause I'm not gonna haggle with you. Like, I do all that stuff they show you how to do to go research all these different things, go look at all the prices and the premiums and all the different incentives and stuff they have. Like I have to do that because the haggling thing, it's so opposite my personality and how I do things. So yeah, whenever that happens, I have to just walk in the door and be like, "All right, here it is. This is the price I will pay. This is it. Either you can do this or you can't." And I'm walking out the door. So just let me know. I'll give you a few minutes. Like I can't, I just can't do it.
So wait a second, Six. I'll fly anywhere if someone pays for it. That sounds kind of. I'm not sure that came out the way you want. The way you exactly wanted, and the part that you said that's a chick in the photo, I don't know. I'm not a chick, and I'm telling you that men wear those kind of fisherman pants or whatever you want to call it. If I showed a version with a lady, I don't know. I don't think it was a lady. And yes, I guess they kind of look like MC Hammer pants, at least the ones we were looking at. I feel like the ones I had were thinner. That's all I can say. Than what I looked at these Hammer pants in the picture. But I don't know. And when it comes to haggling, Professor, I learned one thing. I learned very quickly. I don't know what it's like today, but basically, I first of all went to the market, and what I understood is they give you a price, and then you try to get a lower price. You just take a little bit off, and you're like, oh, I want whatever they say. You say you'll pay them half that amount, and then usually they go, oh, I lose money. Okay.
Yeah.
So then what happened is that like after a few of them, I understood what's going on. And then I'd go to them and I'm like, how much is this? And they say like, give me a price. And then I'd go with their accent. I go like, oh, I lose money. Also, like another thing they would say like, oh, cannot. It's like, I can't explain it. It's a word that like usually people don't use anywhere else, but in the market in Thailand, like, oh, cannot. So like I also like managed to understand that. So I'd already be going to them like, oh, cannot I lose money? And like if nothing else, I was at least amusing them. You know what I mean? At this point, breaking the ice, we take a little bit off the price, or I buy a few things and get a better price because I bought a few things. Uh, I don't know what it's like now. Now I feel like it's a whole different ball game. Now I feel like you land there and each item they want like $1 million for. I don't think it's that kind of vibe that it used to be there. I don't think they would appreciate my humor anymore, Professor. They'd probably be offended.
I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing. I was told, like, that I had some friends that visited the Middle East, a few years ago, and they were telling how the little markets and stuff like that, and they said that the people, they would get offended if you didn't haggle with them, right? They get really irritated that you wouldn't go back and forth and haggle with them. I was, oh man,
And
I
Martin
just don't
says
know.
price haggling hard with the boys. I really wasn't not into that thing, but I will say that in Thailand, uh, you see, I guess, more. I mean, today I don't even know what to tell you. Like at the time, you didn't have all this kind of transformer thing going on in the U.S. So seeing people that were like that there was a little more surprising.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was more part of their culture, or whatever it is, in certain areas or something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah. Lisa wants you to look up harem pants. That's what she.
Harem pants.
I think usually harem pants are worn by women, but maybe it's a similar style. There's a similar style for men.
Six says Thai food is my favorite.
I do enjoy Thai food. The problem is that I just can't eat spicy anymore. And
Oh no.
yeah,
Harem
don't get me wrong. I love spicy food. Unfortunately, at my age, spicy food has decided it doesn't like me. So,
Okay, let's see.
I will still occasionally indulge in some spicy food, knowing that I will simply pay the price later.
So this is, I guess, what harem pants are. Let me share this.
Yeah, big baggy.
Yeah, I feel like the fisherman pants were
Yeah.
more that. This looks more like MC Hammer pants.
Yeah, and it's more of a Middle East style, I think, than it is like India, Thailand kind of thing. But
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember about Thailand, I can tell you that I liked being on the islands more. Bangkok is the type of place like you arrive there, and the second you show up there, you're thinking to yourself every second, how do I leave this place right away? Like you don't want to be there around there more than you have to be. You're already thinking, how do I go to one of those Kopangan islands or whatever it is? Uh, that's a whole lot more pleasant. It used to be. Don't know what it's like now, but back in the day, that would be much more pleasant to be on. There's this kind of smell that you smell when you're in Thailand. I don't know if it's still that way, especially in Bangkok. It has a certain like aroma, and that aroma is telling you have to leave immediately.
yeah.
That's like it's like it's sending you a message. It just wants you to leave. But that's the best way I can describe it.
Oh, now people in the chat talking about curry. I do enjoy some curry. Curry is good. Unfortunately, some of it just way too spicy. But
I like curry.
Someone mentioned butter chicken. No, that's good. Oh, yes, butter chicken. Very good.
You know, interestingly, when I was in India, I actually all this kind of cool Indian food that I eat in the US, a
Yeah.
lot of it I kind of steered away from there. They don't have I had to eat more of a vegetarian diet when I was there.
Yeah.
because you don't really know what's going on there. It's more safe
Not
to
always
go.
sure where the meat came from. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You're not 100% sure. Even in
Yeah.
Thailand, there's certain situations where you're not sure, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll stick to like very simple things. Maybe I think that like there's certain things you could eat there. You don't have to be fully vegetarian in Thailand, but you have to be careful. There was one thing. I'm ashamed to tell this story, Professor, but I'm going to tell it anyways. One time I was on a bus, and I think it was like from Bangkok to like one of those islands. Maybe I was going to Koh Samui or something like that. And sometimes you take a bus and it's like a 12-hour ride. Why didn't I take a flight? I don't remember. Why did I take a bus? I don't know. But the bus, like in the middle of nowhere, because you're on the bus for hours, it stopped. And I was really hungry. And it stops at a place, and there's only one place you can go. There's some lady, she has like a big pot, and she's making soup. Okay? Now, I don't
Yeah.
mind. I mean, Thai soup, that's fine. I'll eat some Thai soup. And there were all these like flies and moths, these kind of little moths flying around. And I think that I looked and they all ended up in the soup.
Ugh.
And I think then she just like gives people the soup and they eat it.
Just stir the flies in. It's protein, baby.
I'm trying to think to myself, I see, this is the part that I'm not sure. Did I eat the soup or not? I either ate the soup and I'm trying to pretend that I didn't, or maybe I just said like, oh, do they have like anything that has like a wrapper on it, like in the store next to it or something? I don't know. I keep thinking to myself that maybe I ordered the soup, but then by the time I got it, I knew how it was made. It wasn't exactly like big flies, it was these little moths. And by the time they give you the soup, you don't really see them. But I couldn't unsee that whole process with those moths flying around into the soup.
Yeah.
Until today, like I remember it like it was yesterday.
So gross.
And the fact that they were all so excited, there were all these like people, especially like locals in the middle of the night eating this crap. They weren't bothered by all those weird insects. Any movies with Thailand as a setting? I can tell you, probably shouldn't be saying this, but sometime it was in the years, maybe it wasn't the exact moment, but it was around the years that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio was released, where he goes to like Koh Phangan or whatever it is, or he goes to these islands. I was on the islands that Leonardo DiCaprio went to film that movie, and in the movie he's on those islands, and some kind of Thai place had a DVD or something of it, and they put it on like in the background, and I was sitting there with some other tourists, and we're all like sitting there watching this movie, and for us we're all like having a good laugh because the movie in no way represents what's going on there. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like
Sure.
they want to show you a movie of the Thailand Koh Phangan experience, but you're sitting in Koh Phangan looking at it and it looks like some stupid Hollywood crap. You know what I mean? We're all kind of laughing because we know that it's just a bunch of crap. It's just kind of interesting that you're sitting at the quote unquote exotic place watching Hollywood's interpretation of the exotic place. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stephen Mack has the right answer. Movie from Thailand, Ong Bak. Incredible martial arts film.
Never seen it.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. So good. Just stunning. The fight sequences, stunts. It's a fantastic martial arts film. One of the best ever made. It's really good. Yeah. In fact, man, it's been a while since I watched that. I need to watch that again. I wonder if my son would enjoy watching Ong Bak.
So this is the thing that I'll have to check it out if I can remember. This is the thing that Elon Musk was talking about Wikipedia just because it's on our thumbnail, so I want to address it. So he wrote, "We are building." Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Says, "We are building Grokpedia will be a massive improvement over Wikipedia. Frankly, it's a necessary step toward the AI goal of understanding the universe." I 100% agree. I know for a fact that Wikipedia is 100% like, biased, just like this guy is saying here. But I didn't. Sometimes it's. I don't want to sound condescending here, but even somebody like Elon Musk and his friends, they seem to be like many steps behind me. And I would say even behind you and me, Professor, because we've known for a long time that Wikipedia can't really be trusted. The same way that I knew that there was something going on with Twitter, with like the quote unquote Twitter files. When they brought out, like, oh, the Twitter files and it's some big scandal, it's not a scandal. I was sitting here literally and saying this for years that that's what was happening. And it happened to my account. Not that it was on that level that, like, somebody like that asked for my account to get blocked. But I think that some studios did complain about it. And I knew that if they would squash an account that's criticizing some stupid woke movie, surely
Mm-hmm.
a government official can make a call. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, if some stupid thing like a guy criticizing a movie can get silenced and shadow banned all the time, then there's a lot more to it than that. And by the time he's like, oh, the Twitter files, I can't believe it. Who would believe such a thing would happen here? And I'm like, oh, come on. And the same thing here. It's like, oh, can you believe that Wikipedia is biased? Yes, I believe it. We've seen it for years. Like, you go try to edit something in a way that doesn't give like a woke spin. I feel like if you go to The Last Jedi until this day, they'll have like a section about like Kelly Marie Tran and the harassment, probably like larger than talking about the movie itself. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So we've known it for years. It's funny, but like in our circles with our stupid Star Wars thing, we were amongst the first to really learn what was going on. And so many people followed suit later. I'm not bitter about it. Semi-bitter, but I'm not bitter about it. Kind of bitter. Mixed feelings about it,
Yes.
Professor.
Yeah. Mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings. So I guess, listen, I'm all for it. And says it's an alternative to Wikipedia is really important. Wasn't this biased when it started up? Yeah, it wasn't intended to do that. A lot of these sites, Rotten Tomatoes that we all make fun of now, it started off a guy like in a dorm room that wanted to have this cool site that would go and like aggregate all these reviews and give like a balanced, score. And initially when the guy did that, his intentions were really good and it was a good idea. But by the time he sold it and somebody else sold it and somebody else, and it changed like 7 hands and became like a part of Fandango that sells movie tickets, and all these kind of, studios are involved in it. How objective could it be at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just the way it is. But I'm all for it. Even though I sounded bitter, I'm all for it. If he can do his own Wikipedia, I'm 100% with that. I guess there was something else. Let me just quickly look at it. Maybe this is what annoyed him. I guess they list Elon Musk on their page for authoritarianism. They like put his picture there. It probably annoyed him. All right. Well, we talk. Oh, hold on. $1 is the Phobos Rumble rant. In the mid-90s, the Turkish government pressured Microsoft to delete all mentions of the Armenian in Karta or be pushed out of Turkey. You can never trust any single source in anything. Yeah, it's funny how much like the same country talks about all this kind of matters today in the Middle East and never wants to acknowledge that they've done anything wrong. And nobody wants to tell them they've done anything wrong either for some reason. So living your price, well done. Don't really understand. In any case, back to what we were talking about. What were we saying? We went over Elon Musk. What else was on our docket?
Let's see. Emma Watson. I wondered if you'd seen any new movies this week, right?
I did see new movies, and we'll get to it in a second.
Yeah.
But Emma Watson, I think that's a good thing to do. Let's quickly look at this thing that J.K. Rowling responded. Basically, I'm going to spare everybody all this nonsense because what initially happened was that I think Emma Watson was on a podcast, and she suddenly tried to kind of soften her position of that she distanced herself and was bashing J.K. Rowling. She was trying to kind of dance around it and walk back a bit, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is it. I guess maybe it was this thing.
Yeah. Still there, Price?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't
Oh.
share it.
Oh, yeah, we can't see it.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Only the best technology here at
Only the
the
best.
only the best. I apologize, Professor. I was listening to the clip by myself, but now you can hear it too.
Cancel her out or cancel that out for anything. It has to remain true. It is true. And this is where this like holding of these, I just don't know what else to do other than hold these two seemingly incompatible things together at the same time and just hope maybe they will one day resolve or like co-join themselves and maybe accept that they never will, but that they can both still be true. And I can love her, I can know she loved me, I can be grateful to her, I can know the things that she said are true, and there can be this whole other thing. And my job feels like to just hold all of it. But the bigger thing is just what she's done will never be taken away from me.
I think that Emma Watson is a pompous idiot, and that's what happens when you're a little girl and you're making all this money, and you've never really lived in the real world, interacted with real people. And I think that J.K. Rowling had a good response to this. I'm trying to find her actual tweet. Where was that? Okay. Maybe. Okay. Did you see this?
No, I did not see a response to this. I had heard a bit about what, people being very, very angry at her for saying, specifically, I think they were pissed that she said that, oh, what she said was true or something like there were specific things they were very angry about. But yeah, what did J.K. Rowling have to say?
For me, in that whole podcast interview, Emma Watson comes off as really pompous and annoying, and it doesn't surprise me. She grew up a star. All these
Mhm.
kids that grow up a star, they haven't lived a real life. I'm not hating on them that they were young and made a lot of money, but this girl is very fortunate. It's very typical that some of these people that grew up like basically the equivalent of winning the lottery, and they just don't understand anything. I think that J.K. Rowling gave a really, harsh response. She wrote, I'm seeing quite a bit comment about this, so I want to make a couple of points. I'm not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. The idea is as ludicrous as me checking with the boss I had when I was 21 for what opinions I should hold these days. Emma Watson and her co-stars have every right to embrace gender identity ideology. Such beliefs are legally protected, and I wouldn't want to see any of them threatened with loss of work or violence or death because of them. However, Emma and Dan in particular have both made it clear over the last few years that they think our former professional association gives them a particular right, nay, obligation, to critique me and my views in public. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continue to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness. Until quite recently, I hadn't managed to throw off the memory of children who needed to be gently coaxed through their dialogue in a big, scary film studio. For the past few years, I've repeatedly declined invitations from journalists to comment on Emma specifically, most noticeably on the witch trials of J.K. Rowling. Ironically, I told the producers that I didn't want her to be hounded as the result of anything I said. The television presenter in the attached clip highlights Emma's all witches speech, and in truth, that was a turning point for me. But it had a postscript that hurt far more than the speech itself. Emma asked someone to pass a handwritten note from her to me, which contained the single sentence, "I'm so sorry for what you're going through." She has my phone number. This was back when the death, rapes, and torture threats against me were at their peak, at a time where my personal security measures had to be tightened considerably, and I was constantly worried for my family's safety. Emma just publicly poured more petrol on the flames, yet thought a one-line expression of concern from her would reassure me of her fundamental sympathy and kindness. Let's see how much more.
There's
It's a
a lot
long
of it,
thing.
yeah.
Well, I'll try to get through it. Okay. Like other people who've never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is. She'll never need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'd be astonished if she's been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed sex changing room at a council run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state run grape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all female service, to find herself sharing a prison cell with a male grape server who's identified into the women's prison? I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand from my own life experience what the trashing of women's rights, in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated, means to women and girls without her privileges. The greatest irony here is that, had Emma not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack I suspect she's adopted because she's noticed full-throated condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was, I might never have been this honest. Adults can't expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination, then assert their right to the former friend's love as though the friend was in fact their mother. Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public, but I have the same right, and I finally decided to exercise it. So basically, J.K. Rowling just said, like, shut up, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that it's fashionable, it's okay for you to come out and, support me. But before, it wasn't okay to come out and support me because you wanted to be fashionable with all those same people, right? It's gross, frankly. That's what she's saying. Like, look, you don't owe me anything. You can have your own opinion. You can decide exactly how you want to feel about this, but now that the winds are changing, don't feel like you can suddenly, start saying other stuff and then everything's just going to be all right. Like that. It's a lot of people do things that way, I think.
I've never
yeah.
been a big fan of Emma Watson. Fine as a child actress, she's fine,
Yeah,
whatever it
it's
is.
fine.
I
Yeah.
honestly don't even really like her that much. It's not like she's a draw for me to watch a movie or anything. I think both her and Radcliffe and whatever, they were better as kids, quite honestly. And as adults, they're not the most intriguing actors. And at the same time, they also seem kind of annoying people. So not a good combination, really. And it's not that even I associate with everything that J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is pretty much a woke, left-leaning person. The only thing that she kind of did was she went off script when it came to the whole Transformer thing, and that's why they're always annoyed at her. But aside from that, she would agree with most of those activists on 90% of the stuff. It's just that one thing they didn't agree upon, and they decided that they needed to cancel her. So she kind of felt what cancel culture was when they came after her for some stupid thing. And really, what did she say? What did she say that was so controversial? I mean, until this day, I think she just said something that if you look at a science textbook from like 10 years ago, it would probably say what she said. And she said that like 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. That's, as they put it, she is very left wing. She is very progressive in just about every single idea that she has in every bit of her philosophy, but she doesn't like the idea of men identifying as women and invading women's spaces. So she is where they made up the term TERF, trans exclusionary. radical feminist, right? Oh, you believe in all of this other stuff, but you exclude, the Transformers from the whole thing. And yeah, that's because, and you know what? There's a whole bunch of LGBs who are very much uninterested in having the T's included in their little group. that and I know some who have told me that we felt like we had gotten everything, we had gotten everywhere we wanted to be, we had found equality in society, and we had found acceptance in society, especially after the decision by the Supreme Court in the United States to allow same-sex marriage, that we had finally, like, all the stuff that we had done for 30 years, 40 years of fighting had finally really gotten us something somewhere, gotten us equality. And then along came the T's, Transformers, and all of these other people who like to refer to themselves as queer, and started hijacking this whole movement and pushing all this stuff into schools and onto kids and all of this stuff. And it's completely turned everything upside down. And it's there's quite a few of them that are very, very angry at how that movement has been hijacked, and how they're automatically now, just because they happen to live a life as a homosexual, that they're automatically now grouped in with all of these people who have been pushing this ideology into places where they have, there's a reason there's a there's a a group out there called Gays Against Groomers, right? they they're not interested in going to these places. It's for them, it's like, you're an adult, you should be allowed to live your life the way that you want to live your life as an adult. They're not interested in going into classrooms and trying to convince little kids, to bat for one team or the other, right? I don't know. It's all so weird. And I just, yeah. J.K. Rowling, I think, has been very clear on what she believes. I don't think she's going to change that. And I think as we learn more and more, as we see more and more of this ideology finally kind of falling apart, collapsing in on itself, because it's not ideologically consistent. Hopefully we start to be able to put a lot of this stuff behind us. But
so there's one thing. Did you see that whole thing with Donald Trump, Chuck Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries today?
I did, but it's hilarious. Do you have it pulled up?
I do, and I think we have to look
Yes.
at it. No,
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's also been, like, more stuff going on with it. So what started was is that Donald Trump posted this. I don't know if I myself would have posted this, but Trump is Trump, and this is what he posts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Coded. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
So that was the original one that he posted, and then I guess he went to talk on some show. Let me see if I can find this. First of all, this was Hakeem Jeffries' reaction.
Video. Yeah. And Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake.
Almost racist.
Yeah. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face.
He already did.
My face. House Democrats.
House Democrats, we really need to up our meme game. Okay.
And then
Because
I
the left
guess
can't meme.
Trump posted then a photo of him laughing at them in the Oval Office, and then
Offering them the Trump 2028
the Trump
hats.
2028
Yeah.
hats. This was another thing that I guess Trump posted later. I think it's real. I think this happened 4 hours ago. Are you ready?
Yeah, I
It's a
haven't seen this one.
disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
This is just wacky.
I think this is a kind of bringing it full circle and now talking about this again. I think this shutdown is a huge miscalculation on the Democrats' part. First of all, you can go back even 6 months, to 10 months ago, you can find quotes from all of these people, from Elizabeth Warren, from Chuck Schumer, talking about how irresponsible it is to to shut down the government, that it's going to harm average citizens, that it's going to be dangerous, it's going to, damage the confidence in our in our system of government and all this. I believe Elizabeth Warren was saying something about that this is only that government shutdowns are only for hostage takers who can't win elections, right? Stuff like that. You could go back and you can find all of these quotes of all of these Democrats who have voted against this continuing resolution. And that's all it is, by the way. It's a clean continuing resolution that simply says we're going to keep funding the government at the levels that it is right now for the next few months. It's the left, it's the Democrats who want to come in and they want to try and squeeze all sorts of other stuff in there. Very specifically, what they have been trying to do is essentially overturn some of the stuff that was taken away, some of the funding that was pulled as part of the big beautiful bill. They want to try and squeeze new funding in there. Basically, they want to try and change a previously passed law with this continuing resolution by now funding things that have had their funding removed as part of the big beautiful bill. So they are the ones that are clearly at fault for shutting down the government. They are going to be the ones who are going to bear the brunt of this. And also, I think they're not thinking this through. They're not. You know what happens when there's a government shutdown? After a little bit, people start going on furloughs. And once that happens, the executive branch has it in their power to just say, oh, you don't need to come back. So they're literally playing right into Donald Trump's hands, where he wants to be able to cut all of these jobs at all of these different places, and they're fighting to, oh no, we need to keep all these people, we need to keep all these employees. They're literally playing into his hands so that he will be able to say, oh, you people, we don't need you to come back. No thanks. You're dismissed, right? Without any kind of severance, without anything else, just off you go. See you later. And it's a huge miscalculation on their part. Like I said, on one hand, they're playing into Donald Trump's hand. He can start cutting jobs, cutting positions from all sorts of different parts of the government wherever he wants. And then on the other side, I do not think they are going to be winning this PR battle. Yeah, they've got the left-wing media and they've got the mainstream media on their side. They're going to be pushing this as hard as they can, but a lot of people have completely left the mainstream media. They're not interested in what they have to say anymore. So they're not going to be listening to their particular version of this story. What's this Phobos got to say?
He says it's a Rumble rant for $1. He says, while the left and right fight, the powers that be will quietly pass digital ID and CBDC, social credit, universal surveillance, and internet censorship. After that, we're all screwed.
I don't think it's quite there yet, but I do know what you're saying. They're definitely trying to do that over in the UK.
The UK are 100% doing that.
Digital ID, and then once you got digital ID in place, it'll be social credit scores, and they already have universal surveillance in the UK. That's
yeah, they don't let you tweet anything.
Yeah.
This is a video of Chuck Schumer from 1996 that people were sharing today. I don't know if you saw it.
This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find without it changing the actions of the government one bit. And we find all this opposition. Ladies and gentlemen of this chamber, what I worry about is that this bill, which started out with good intentions, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, is going to end up being the same kind of thing that the public gets angry with us on. We say we're doing something, and we do nothing. Because every time someone makes a rational and small proposal to get something done, people say, well, what about this hypothetical, that hypothetical, et cetera. I urge support of this amendment. If you believe you want to stop fraud in immigration, you have no choice but to support this amendment.
Gentleman's time has expired.
This is
Yeah, a lot of these people, if you look at policies of Democrats from like 5, 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, today they'd be considered far right or something compared to what they're like now.
How utterly pathetic is it that we can go back and look at video of Chuck Schumer serving in government 30 years ago? Gross.
That is rather.
Nobody should be serving that long, ever.
No. Yeah, and I said this before, we've talked about other countries as well, and just in democracies, I think that there should always be a cap of how long somebody could be in positions of power. And when it comes to things like that, and this isn't just exclusive for the US, I say that about most democracies. I think that you should try to avoid a situation where a guy can continuously, even through elections, continuously be in power over and over again. Because after 30 years, somebody sure can get comfortable. And I don't mean that in a good way.
They can get comfortable and they can get corrupt.
Very much so, yes.
And it's disgusting. We should have term limits for every position in the government. There's a reason specifically for not having term limits for those that serve in the Supreme Court. That's so that they don't have to run for office. They don't have to be political. They're allowed to be outside the system. There's a reason for that. I understand that. Unfortunately, it's sort of fallen apart in recent years because a lot of justices have become very political. But there was a reason for having that, simply having it there. But now with all of these other positions, you've got James Casaro said Nancy Pelosi being 492 years old. Yeah, you've got these people that come in and they serve in these positions as specifically senators, but also, in the House where they come in and they serve for 30, 40, 50 years in these jobs. That is just disgusting. That should not be allowed. Those positions, they should be able to hold those for 2-3 terms max, and then you find somebody else. And I don't want to hear this BS about, oh, well, we want the best people running in those, in those positions. We want the best people, to fill those jobs. No. We do want the best people. The best people are not necessarily the same people that have been there for a long, long time. And you can say, oh, well, they know the specifics of how to write laws. They know specifics of that. Yeah, guess what else they know the specifics of? How to avoid campaign finance laws. They know the specifics about how to take money under the table so that it's not discovered. They know the specifics about how to take the knowledge that they have serving in government and use that so that they can engage in insider trading and make millions of dollars. That's what they're experts at. I don't want that anymore. I want these people out of office 2-3 terms max, and you're gone. Let someone else come in. Let someone else do that job. Let someone else serve. you go off and, do whatever it is. The idea that we have career politicians is revolting.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, Professor, and I wish that there was a way to change.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only people who can change it are the politicians who are in office, and they're
never
not
wanna
gonna
do it.
they're not gonna take bread out of their own mouths. They're not gonna take millions of dollars out of their investment accounts,
Yeah,
and to do it. I mean, it's possible. It's entirely possible. I mean, there are plenty of people who have suggested this, have said, this is something that should be part of the Republican platform. We should have reasonable term limits for people who serve in the legislature. But, unfortunately, it's never goes anywhere. Right. Because as it goes, this is the way it is right now, and it's the way it's been for a while. Each of these people who are serving in that role, they come into office. Maybe some of them come in there with the best of intentions, but then once they are elected, their only job moving forward is not serving the people. Their job, once they are elected, is getting reelected. And so that's all they do. They look at their positions and they change their positions to get reelected. They look at what they're doing and what interest groups they're supporting to get reelected. They're not interested in actually serving the people. If we had term limits in place, people could actually go up there and realize, hey, you know what? At best, I'm going to serve 3 terms, right? So what I should do here is not focus on trying to get reelected. What I should focus on is actually trying to do the best good that I can for my constituents, instead of just holding issues out and saying, oh, we're going to fix whatever, and then not fixing it, because if you fix it, then that's not an issue you can run on next time. Right. And so they just keep kicking the can down the road, keep getting reelected. It's a joke. It's a very bad joke, but it's a joke.
Absolutely. Well said. I agree with everything you said. We have some time, and you asked me if I saw a movie. I guess now we can do a lightning round.
Yeah. Tell me if you've seen anything new this past week.
I have
Yeah.
seen a movie that I've just been so busy over the past few days. I've been itching to do a review, but I just didn't get a chance. So you're going to be surprised now, Professor. But you know what I watched?
What's that?
Take a guess.
It wasn't Ong Bak. I know that.
No, that
You
wasn't.
do
that.
need to go watch that. Tell me, Price, have you seen The Killer or Hard Boiled?
I don't think I did.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm dying, guys. I'm dying, chat.
Okay.
Okay. I got some movies for you to watch. Okay. Oh, you saw One Battle After Another. That was actually going to be my guess. That was going to be my real guess. One Battle After Another.
I actually saw One Battle After Another.
The quote unquote Antifa movie, as some people have been referring to it. Yeah.
Okay, so I've been itching to do a review. I just didn't get a chance, and it's sad because I really wanted to do it. I guess now we'll do the lightning round one. This movie, first of all, has a 96%. That's 1 point less than The Godfather. And 85% from so-called audience. But this is also a fishy score. I don't believe any of this. I've seen this movie. This movie is, for lack of a better way to describe it, and I want to say that I don't say this about every movie. This is the ultimate kind of woke trash garbage movie. Okay, it is full on extreme woke, and I know you're saying, "Oh, you're just saying that now," but let me explain something. This isn't like The Little Mermaid, where like the prince now like is an idiot, and you're like, "Okay, that's woke." I'm not talking about anything like that. This is like this movie is if you did like an encyclopedia and you wrote like woke movie, this movie you could put the poster for this movie. So, do you know anything about it?
Yes, actually, I've actually seen a couple of reviews of this already. Yeah, and I've seen a few or read a couple talking about. So apparently the lead character is a they them. clearly supposed to be female, but it identifies as they them. And then there's some sort of like they're a member of some sort of leftist organization, and I really haven't heard. I don't remember a whole lot more about it, but yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
It starts off where there's a woman who's like the ultimate girl boss. It's somehow a combination. It's like woke within woke. On one hand, the movie is about like the most wokest of things, and on the other hand, it has like woke tropes within the wokest of things, politically. It feels, you know how when we saw the Savant thing that was delayed, and you felt like maybe they planned that movie because they thought Kamala was going to win. I feel like this is another one of those movies that when it was conceived and filmed, they were sure that Kamala is winning this election. And once Kamala would win, this would be the additional, like, kind of little dig to show you how, like, people on the right are all, like, terrible istophobes and things like that. The only thing is that by releasing it now, the movie comes off just kind of strange. And not to mention that after everything that happened with Charlie Kirk, it makes it even more kind of tone deaf. If I were the studio, I would have delayed this movie, but maybe because it's like Paul Thomas Anderson, who's considered like a fancy director, they couldn't do that. If I was the studio, I would have delayed this by a year, just not to release this now. I know that they probably think the guy that made it probably thinks he's so clever, but I don't think it comes off that way at all. So the movie starts.
I bet it would have felt even more out of place a year from now. Just being honest.
Maybe you're right. Maybe they just needed to pull the Band-Aid off. They could have tried to do an Iron Heart, but how long can you just like sit on this turd? So in any case, the movie starts off. It has this, diverse black lady she is the big boss of this like revolution. It starts off immediately. Like the first scene is that there's like a place where they've detained illegal immigrants, and there's like a group of like these kind of BLM style activists, and they have to get those immigrants out. So they go and like launch an attack on the army that's there, and the army like is obviously, it's like a mustache man vibe. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The army that have detained these people, there's a very kind of awful mustache man vibe. These activists have come to get these people released, and I guess they caused some damage. In this whole situation, this boss lady, her kind of miserable beta boyfriend is Leonardo DiCaprio. She is like totally dominating in this relationship. He is like a beta idiot. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So he's a beta idiot and completely like, smitten. Oh, like he's all like kissing her ass and she's the best. And she is so darn unlikable. She's supposed to be like the leader of this revolution. She's such an unlikable character. I don't know if they intended for her to be unlikable or I just don't like it. In any case, I assume that I just don't like it. I think that Paul Thomas Anderson probably thought, look what a great girl boss I put in here. In any case, very unlikable character. And in addition to having this relationship with DiCaprio, she also has a relationship with Sean Penn. Now, Sean Penn is like a big general in the army. And he's into like stopping all these radicals and all this immigrants. But she's such a attractive, quote unquote, girl boss for him that, he still wants to like bang her because she's like, he's so attracted to what a girl boss she is, even though he's the general, the mustache man general. This doesn't make any sense, but this is what's going on in the movie. So basically, you understand that secretly, while she's with DiCaprio, she's actually having an affair with this other guy who's also banging her, who's basically her enemy. But she's just, he can't, even though he's a mustache man, enemy, terrible army, U.S. Army person, quote unquote, he can't stop being attracted to this BLM lady.
Wow.
Now, okay. The next thing you know, it has a time jump and she's pregnant. And you're not sure if it's like the mustache man who got her pregnant or Leonardo. But of course, Leonardo being the beta little, I don't want to say negative things, the beta jerk off that he is, he's just like, he's sure it's his daughter. You know, he doesn't think that this lady was with a mustache man guy. So he starts like caring for the baby at home. He's like acting more like the mother, and she, because she's this girl boss and she's the leader of the revolution, she wants to do more kind of Antifa type of stuff. And he tells her, you know, maybe you should relax because we have this baby. You know, you can't do Antifa all the time when we have this newborn. And she's like, nah, I'm gonna go do BLM. You do whatever the fuck you want. Sorry, Sean. And so I guess he stays with the baby, and then they go, and her friends want to go and rob a bank, but then they somebody annoys them, so they shoot them or something. So then it becomes a bigger crime, and now the army is like actively chasing this group of radicals that are like causing mayhem. And of course, it's kind of showing that the army is just trying to kill them all. No trials, no nothing. It's very aggressive. She basically, even though she's the one that did the killing, she gets arrested. She gets caught, and they make a deal with her that they'll put her in witness protection if she rats on all of her friends. So she rats on all of her friends, and then Sean Penn, who's the mustache man who set this whole thing up for her, he wants to come over to her house in witness protection and bang her because he figures like she'll be happy that he took care of her. But when he arrives, she leaves him a note and she writes to him, "You ain't getting my pussy, Professor."
Nice. Nice.
That actually, there's a note that says this, or it's something even worse. It's like, "Yo, my pussy ain't gonna pop for you," or something like that. You're probably thinking, Professor, you're making this up, that it says, "Yo, my pussy ain't gonna pop." I'm telling you, that is pretty much. It's probably word for word what it says on that note that she leaves Sean Penn, who's the mustache man who's in love with a BLM lady. Total bonkers. This is like a weird fever dream situation. This is like a hard left, super TDS person's fever dream, this movie. So what happens is that Sean Penn, he finds the note of like, this pussy ain't popping for you, yo. And next thing you know, she runs off to Mexico. She she ran off to Mexico, and you don't see her again. Now there's a 16-year time jump. You see Leonardo DiCaprio. He is a stoned, alcoholic bum, loser, jerk off, living like in some rural area with his daughter. He seems to try to want to protect her, but he's such a loser. He doesn't know anything. He's such a jerk off loser. I can't explain this to you. And his daughter wants to go hang out with her friends, and they want to go to a dance. And of course, one of her friends is like a they them. You know, the whatever it is, like a non-neutral something, I don't know what. So they go to this dance, but then okay, now are you sitting down for this, Professor? This is where the movie even goes off the rails even more. Until now, it somehow made sense. This is
It's
the
been
part where it's
tame
like,
up until now. Oh, okay, sure.
this is the part where it literally, it's like it goes off a cliff, like, you know, right off a cliff. Basically what happens is that there is a club of mustache men, a secret club of like American good old boys, of white good old boys, Americans, and they only accept very specific people into their super top secret club, that if you're a member, you know, you have access to power and money and all this stuff, and you want to be a part of this club. The club is called the Christmas Adventures Club, and basically when you're there, they keep saying to themselves, "Hail Saint Nick, hail Saint Nick," and that's, I guess, like a secret. It's sort of a modern day spin on, like, you know, mustache man / people that look like ghost monsters in the South in the 1900s. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like the wizards.
Yeah.
The big wizard people. So in any case, it's like a mix
Grand
of all
dragons.
these things. They call it the Christmas Club Adventure, and they all do like Hail Saint Nick and all this weird stuff. And he wants to become a part of this club, but when he sits there and they have this top secret meeting at a top secret place to consider him for being part of their crew, they said they have to like look into his past and make sure that there's never been anything he's done that's impure, and that includes that they want to make sure that he never had any kind of relationship or physical contact or anything with somebody who is not quote unquote pure, meaning if it's like a diverse person that he had relations with, he wouldn't be able to get accepted into the super secret Mustache Man Club. And they insist on this. So now he gets worried because he knows that in the past he was with the BLM lady. And he also he realizes, he knows because he kept tabs on her, that she had a child. So he's thinking that maybe that child is his. Now he really wants to join the Super Mustache Man Club. And how can he do that if he got a BLM lady pregnant? This is the real plot. This is the plot of the movie, Professor. I'm not making this up. You think I'm making it up? I'm not making it up.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so basically, he wants to make sure, now he wants to tie up loose ends. So he mobilizes the army cleverly, creating like a fake crisis in that area, trying to stop all these illegals that came from Mexico. But his real target is, he knows that Leonardo DiCaprio, he somehow through clever means gets the information that DiCaprio is there along with his daughter under a new identity, because they kind of had passports of some other people, but he discovers it. So he creates this whole kind of diversion that he just needs to get rid of all the like people from Mexico or whatever it is, but he's really looking for like Leonardo DiCaprio and his daughter. The idea is he needs to get rid of them, like literally wants to kill them, because he doesn't want there to be any trace of him having any kind of relationship with the BLM lady. So what ends up happening, this is where like the movie starts becoming more of like, suspenseful, quote unquote, because the girl has to run away and she's separated from her father. And meanwhile, like other people that survived from like the old revolutionary days, they now run like nuns. They're all nuns in a church, but they're nuns that like to fire machine guns or something. And she goes and they put her with these nuns. But he's like too clever. Sean Penn is too clever. He's like 7 steps ahead of everybody. Leonardo DiCaprio at this point is like, I'm going to go get my daughter. So you think he's like finally not going to be like this like little, pussy ass bitch that he's been the whole time. Sorry, Sean. But instead, he's always stoned and drunk and he doesn't do anything properly. Nothing Leonardo DiCaprio's character does in this movie is any good. You could remove him from the movie, it probably wouldn't even make a difference. He is the biggest loser. If I was Leonardo DiCaprio, I would never accept this script. I'd be like, what the fuck is this garbage? I would never take this script. So he takes the script, and he's a loser throughout the whole thing. And at some point, he needs help from Benicio del Toro, who's like a master at like, hiding all these like immigrants or whatever it is. So he helps him try to find the nuns where they're keeping the daughter. But meanwhile, Sean Penn is there and he gets to the nuns before Leonardo DiCaprio. And he does a quick DNA test that he has on the spot to try to see if the daughter is his or not. And once it turns out like that it is his daughter and not DiCaprio's, he wants to kill her. Are you still with me?
Wow. Okay.
So he wants to kill her, but then what happens is that he doesn't feel like killing her himself, so he gives her to this other guy who he tells him, like, go give her to some, like, mustache man radicals, and they'll already take care of her. So this other bad guy takes her to the radicals, but then he feels bad that he gave her to radicals, so instead of leaving her there, they start a gunfight where everybody dies. So then she runs away. And meanwhile, as like Sean Penn thinks that he's managed to like tie up all of his loose ends when he really didn't, it turns out that the Christmas Club of Mustache Men send a hitman to kill Sean Penn and shoot him in the face because they discovered that he once slept with a BLM lady. I know how bad this sounds. This is really what happens in the movie. It's almost over, so bear with me. So he shoots Sean Penn. Sean Penn is like flies off the road. Leonardo DiCaprio at the end, this same bad guy wants to kill the little girl also, but she manages to shoot him. And Leonardo DiCaprio arrives at the end after the little girl, the 16-year-old daughter, shot the bad guy. And she's like, the big hero, and she's a girl boss of a girl like daughter of a girl boss. He arrives and he's just like a jerk off idiot like he was the whole movie, and they drive away. The weirdest thing is, it turns out that even though he was shot in the face, Sean Penn's character is still alive. And then he stupidly, he goes to the Mustache Man Club to talk to the people again. And they tell him in a meeting, hey, we've discovered that, you once had something with a BLM lady. And he goes, No, she took advantage of me. She must have given me like injected me with something that put me to sleep. And when I woke up, it looks like she tried to use my body for like, she gets a kick out of it. She wanted my sperm. So they're like, "Okay, no problem. Like this is great. This is super great. Like thanks for
Oh my
explaining this to us."
god.
And then they say to him, "We're just going to take you to your office. You have like the corner office. It's the best in the whole building." They take him to this corner office. They close the door, and then gas comes out of the ceiling, and he dies. And then they have something that looks kind of like I don't know how to say this. Uh, eh, oh, I don't. The thing where you burn bodies. Okay.
Yes.
So they put him into something like that. They like burn his body, and then that's how they got rid of him. And I think that then and then you think the movie is going to end, and then there's a final scene where now the daughter, Leonardo DiCaprio, gives her a letter from her mother. That I don't know when this mother wrote the letter, and then like you hear, and she's like, "Hey, you need to continue what I've done. I wasn't able to change the world, but you sure can, yo." And then she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to change the world." So then she tells Leonardo DiCaprio, who's still a loser bum and like sitting on the couch and a fucking jerk off, that she's going to go to Oakland to join some like kind of riots or whatever it is. And he's like, "You go, girl." And then the movie ends.
Okay.
I don't know how many
Wow. This
people are
sounds
still
like
listening to me.
just worthless garbage. Just garbage. I can't even.
Tomahawk says, "How long is this movie?" It is 2 hours and 42 minutes, and it feels like it's 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Oh.
It is not a 96%. It is not an 85%. This movie is manipulative garbage. And the thing is, I mean, I could argue that there's moments that maybe the directing is good. I think that Benicio del Toro, in spite of the shitty movie, when you see him on screen, he tries to do something that's worth watching. But and maybe some of the cinematography isn't terrible. It's not that it's all unwatchable, but when you really think of the story and the message of what it's trying to do. Oh, that's the thing. This pussy won't pop for you. I knew it was something like that. You thought I was kidding.
Oh, there it is.
I'm so glad you found it, Professor. You thought I was making this up.
Oh, it sounded so ridiculous. I wanted to see it. That's so
It's
dumb.
absolutely true, and everything I said about this movie is true. There's even worse things, but it's 2 hours and 42 minutes. I had to sum it up here. You know what? You know what's really annoying here? You have 3 Academy Award winning actors, and a director that at some point was considered well respected with really good movies. I think he did Boogie Nights. He did like There Will Be Blood. Real movies. And you go see this movie, and it's like, man, you also had a TDS. It reminded me of my disappointment of South Park that recently just feel like TDSers after all these years that I could count on them. Paul Thomas Anderson has gone a similar route. I don't know what he wants. Really, really embarrassing. There's almost nothing redeemable about this movie. And the one thing I'll tell you is there could have been a decent movie here. I'll tell you, you know what I would have done if I were him? I would have started off that, let's say that there's this like BLM lady and Leonardo DiCaprio is all into her and they're doing bad things, but then she goes off the deep end, and he's like, "We have a daughter, we need to kind of protect her." And then 16 years later, you jump forward in time. If I were making this movie, I'd make it that Leonardo DiCaprio has turned his life around. You know what I mean? He's now a
Yeah.
serious, like he's doesn't want anything to do with that revolution. His daughter, he raised her proper, like everything is great, but suddenly his past gets catches up with him, and now he has to be on the run for stuff that he did 16 years earlier, when in fact maybe he's a different man. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That would have at least been interesting, but I'm like, because he's like, he has to sort of face his past, even though now he's a completely different person, looking at the past thinking that maybe he didn't do something good. And at least that would have been a little bit of an interesting nuance to show, different sides of something. Also, instead of showing just like flat out mustache man all the time with the immigrants and all that kind of extreme, I think that probably Paul Thomas Anderson thought, "Oh, I'm showing both sides of this equation." But in reality, you're not really showing both sides, because I think it's very clear that you thought that the people that were on more the radicals were the good guys, whereas the other people were flat out mustache men. So it wasn't a balanced picture.
Doesn't sound like they ever intended it to be. I think it was always meant to be a propaganda piece, without question.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this: I have like a monthly pass, so I don't pay for movies. I
Yeah.
wasn't sorry that I saw it because it was fascinating to watch just how woke and garbage it was. And I don't say that woke garbage is not something that I characterize every movie as. There's a lot of woke stuff. There are a lot of stuff that I complain about that I flat out would tell you this is woke garbage. That's the only way I can describe this movie. It's like it's not just woke; it's greedy woke. Do you get what I mean? It's like they didn't just want it to be a little bit. They went all in. If they're at the casino, they took all their chips and they went like, we're going all in woke with this movie.
Wow.
Anyhow, I don't know what people thought about
Wow.
my review. If anybody was even listening, they probably were listening and thinking, "What is this man talking about?" But that's the movie. That's that really is the movie. And the funny thing is, like, if at least, let's say you see this whole crappy movie, and at the end, they let Leonardo DiCaprio actually take the final shot, kill the bad guys, save his daughter, and maybe he sits her down and he's like, forget about what your mother did. You have to, like, live a life. You have to go straight as an arrow. Forget all about this revolutionary stuff. Like, I made a mistake. You know what I mean? Try to do something that at least, like, brings some kind of nuance to it at the end. Nope. She hears on the radio that there's a riot in Oakland and she has to go there and support like the Antifa thing or whatever is going on there. And he's like, yeah. Ugh. What a terrible, terrible movie. Yes, it is the dust-born concord of movies. Such a sad thing. And of course they gave it a 96. I'm sure that this is the best thing that ever happened to them. I wonder what there's these. I'll just quickly, I have to see a few reviews. I know it's getting late. I'm curious as to what they even say about this.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Prophetic and captivating. One battle, another delivers an epic father-daughter political action thriller. No, it doesn't. Thrilling, terrifying, hilarious, devastating, and essential all at once. Few filmmakers could pull that off, but Paul Thomas Anderson makes it look effortless once again. It's shit. Anderson taps into a nerve at the heart of our nation, revealing the dark truths and hypocrisies that often pit us against ourselves. It's also a story about power, the need to control, and moments we need to display our empathy. Revolution has never been this funny. I wasn't laughing. I didn't think the movie was funny at all. Like, there was nothing funny about it. Showcase the inevitability of generation handing over to the next, all the battles not completed, all the spoils and cost of victories won, and the lessons from the battles lost, for no person can stay in the fight forever. I didn't think it was funny, actually. I just sat there like, if it was funny, you could say it's some kind of satire, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, now I'm almost sad that I asked you what you watched this week. I'm kidding. I'm glad to hear glad to hear about it because now I don't have to see it because it sounds terrible.
Well, at least I did. And the funny thing is that you actually looked at it and it said that this pussy don't pop for you.
Yeah.
You thought I was just making it up. I told you that she left him a note that said that. And really, I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio, the real Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't think he would like that lady. She doesn't seem like his type. She's not 20 years old or whatever he likes.
She's
not a supermodel and doesn't look like she's 20 years
2
old.
years north of legal.
Right. She does not look like somebody that Leonardo DiCaprio would be especially interested in. The whole thing, Sean Penn, no matter what I think about him on a personal level, is not a bad actor, but man, you had Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, and Benicio del Toro, not bad actors. There is definitely like a cool action thriller movie that could be done with these type of actors of this caliber, and talk about shitting the bed. Just, why even bother doing all of this? And I think that the movie is done poorly at the box office, and I'm, have no issue with that. But I guess I'm a little pissed that you asked him about the movie.
Yep.
Uh,
I think Six would
sorry,
rather have
Six.
not have heard all of that.
AI wrote that. Maybe, I don't know, man. It's a terrible movie. But let me quickly just say goodbye to some people as we're wrapping up. Empress and M is to Phobos, Elizabeth Quince, Zero, Double R Star, Dudebroseft 420, Cheers, Elijah Fire, Senpai 76, Bingo Hazmat, Reachum 842, K Burton 1, Sal the Hamster, Lyosh, Darren Mai, and Radio Streamer. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Rumble side. Professor, do you have some other people you want to say?
Yeah, over here on YouTube, we were joined by Awesome One, Badfoot, Caleb Levine, DJ Play Nice, E. Clay Thomason, FKHC 2005, Istophobos, James Caserta, Jason Webster, Jim Noxious, Jonathan Conroy, Keely Chow, Lisa, Marla Sharondoff, Rebecca Gold, Samsung, Sean Green, Simon Wilson, Six, Stephen Mack, The Dead Man, The Devastator, Tim Hayes, Tomahawk 511, Waylon Bocephus, Yitis, Yivo, and Zun RJ5. So yes, thanks for joining us this evening.
Well, Tomahawk 511, I thought his comment was funny. Love triangle in the
Yeah.
most unlikely places. Yeah, that was a very strange love triangle. But it was just funny, and I'll say this final comment, that amidst that whole movie, Leonardo DiCaprio was also a beta jerk off. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's they could have at least made him like a powerful Antifa man that he's like really has like, you know, he's the leader, but they couldn't even do that. It's like a woke on woke. It's really unbelievable what happened in the movie, but that's all I'll say. Professor, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to do before we go?
No, I think we've had lots to say this evening. I've had a great time hanging out with you as always, Price. And I really appreciate everybody showing up over on Rumble and over here on YouTube to hang out with us in the chat this evening.
Bingo Hasman says even Grace Randolph didn't like one battle after another. That's surprising. I would think that she would like it, but who knows? She's unpredictable sometimes.
Can be.
Anyhow, pleasure hanging out with everybody. Really enjoy hanging out with people here on both platforms that we're streaming. Really nice crowd. We enjoy hanging out with you here every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern on the Night Owl. And today is Tuesday, so I guess we'll be here again on Thursday.
Oh, that's the plan. And maybe Price will watch one of these incredible Asian action films before then. I don't know. They're all on Tubi, man. All of them. All these John Woo flicks. Better Tomorrow, Hard Boiled.
Thanks, Six.
They're all over
Mr.
there.
Brown is invited. He just doesn't wake up at these times. Thank you, Radio Streamer. Thank you,
like
Six.
5 in the morning, 4 in the
Yeah.
morning, 6 in the morning over there.
It was nice, and Ian Mega Geek joined us once. That was kind of a fun.
Yeah,
surprise.
he was up extra late doing some editing, doing some work, and so yeah, he just came and hung out with us. So
That was very fun. So yeah, I guess you all have a good night, and we'll see you here on Thursday. And that's it for now, I guess.
all right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.